About to ask you, Shayo, is it just about being conservative and trying to sit all the placements, or is it about going for the win? And you answered it right there. You gotta go for the win because no one's gonna give you the crown. You're gonna have to take it from our defending FNCS champions in Hen's trio.
Ci siamo? Dopo un sacco di mesi siamo ritornati, reagiamo alle ccfn. Of Fortnite. Siamo ai semifinali alle ccfn di Fortnite. Vediamo cosa fanno questi. Ma perdonami, com'è possibile? Ah, ok,
survive for the whole entire time.
You're looking at what's happening in the adjustments already. Wolfies was 15-15 that Yellow House, games 1-2. They kind of split retail row with Kiko's trio. Now they're rotating early. We're seeing the retail row teams rotate early. Scram trio, the other retail row is rotating towards Lazy Lake. This time Wolfies is kind of pushing that cam split, and that cam split right now is being held down by Red Rush's trio.
Vediamo cosa fanno, ragazzi. Vediamo che si qualifica. Devo dire che le ccfn, qua come si chiamano a caso, sono molto interessanti.
For this entire player threshold, and that's decided by how much damage they do. So you basically have to deal damage, or you get dealt damage by this purple lightning that comes down. You'll see it in a second. Deuce is ahead of it right now.
Io direi, ragazzi, di reagire stasera, poi da oggi in poi dai arriveranno un po' di live, dai. Metterò pure l'altra carriera su FIFA. Questa è stata l'ultima. Oddio, il Cambridge, sì. Non l'ho portata più perché il gioco, avevo aperto praticamente il gioco. Prendo il gioco, mi è venuta le carriere caricate, andavo vabbè, su quella che serviva, però non era quella. Ho detto com'è possibile? A un certo punto non l'ho trovata più, ho detto ma come sia possibile? Quindi non ho potuto più continuare quella carriera. A breve vi porterò una carriera allenatore con una squadra non forte, ma che tiene dei grandi giocatori, che tiene degli ottimi giocatori di lei.
You're talking about randomness. What is this? This is, I'm counting like 7 different trios at the same time fighting in Storm. There's Fat Croaky, the interrupters, high ground fighting Stomping.
Questa parte della ccfn è molto difficile. Ecco perché meglio non fare, per le persone non forti come me, non li faccio i tornei. Se proprio devo fare un torneo lo faccio in arena, cioè faccio gioco in arena. Ma io non saprei, ad esempio, non saprei gestire una situazione del genere, guardate. Cioè per me sarebbe molto difficile. Non la saprei gestire questa situazione. Vedete questi giocatori non sono scarsi, ma sono tutti forti. Quindi già sono abituati a questo tipo di gioco. Io non sono abituato perché non ho mai fatto una ccfn, ma a parte che in queste parti del gioco, nell'endgame così non ci so giocare. Ci potrei riuscire solo se giocherei in terzetto o coppie, ma anche in coppie bisogna 2 persone. Non sarei in grado di giocare, ecco perché le reagisco. Le avrei potute giocare,
And like this is gonna be rough rotates all the way
Avrei potuto
across.
giocare ccfn, però non l'ho deciso di fare. Avendo anche 2 FA va bene, non ho deciso di giocare perché non ero in grado di giocarci. Saprei che non mi sarei manco qualificato. Cioè, sapevo che già non mi qualificavo, quindi è inutile. Ma io reagire a queste persone forti, comunque sono di un certo livello, giocano da un po' di tempo. Molto veloci nell'edit, molto scattanti. Vede, la stessa skin mia tiene questo, non in questo caso però. Una cosa negativa nell'endgame che lagga un sacco perché ci sono troppi giocatori.
I'm watching bumper cars. I'm looking at trios just bouncing off of each other, shooting over and over again. No one is leaving space.
Comunque mi piacciono questi ccfn da giro però. Vedete come sono tutti ragionano, hanno modo questi materiali. Vabbè, tu mi dai 150, drop questo. Cioè, ognuno ha un compito da fare. Chi boxa, chi fa questo, chi fa quell'altro. Sono tutti molto organizzati, ma questa è gente che gioca ad alto livello. Vedete come lagga? Però è bello reagire a queste ccfn, direi. Vedete come gioco di astuzia, cioè sono nettamente più organizzati di quando uno gioca in arena, capito? Cioè tu in arena, se hai ad esempio, se hai... Quanto c'è esempio? Se tu hai, che ne so, 30.000 punti, cioè tu sei forte rispetto a tutti gli altri, cioè è facile là, gioco come cazzo ti pare, come cazzarola ti pare. E i tutorial sono molto più difficili, cioè è molto più ragionevole rispetto all'arena normale, a parere mio. Ci sono molto più difficili, direi. Perché qua non ti fanno passare una cosa qua, vedete? Questa gente è molto forte. Ma chi ci sta di noi che io conosco? Vediamo un attimo. Ecco qua il danno della tempesta, se non fanno danno. Quindi questa è un'altra cosa difficile delle ccfn, dei tornei. Vedi, è troppo difficile. Cioè, vedete quanto è difficile, ci vuole tanta tecnica, tanta agilità, tanta esperienza che hanno solo alcuni giocatori. Io non la potrei giocare, anche se ho anche la possibilità di giocarci, però non me la gioco perché è inutile, sarebbe inutile. Vedete ragazzi come giocano? È tutta una questione di ragionamento questo. E mi piace pure come giocano questi. Ma chi è che conosciamo? Sono tutti... Forse uno che conosce... Ah, non ci sta, aspetta, no. Ah, c'è Tyson. Ah, c'è Tyson, ci sta, ok. C'è Tyson, ecco qua. Quindi tutti con la stessa skin e tutto. Vabbè, questo si usa pure. Vedi quando i giocatori sono come lag il gioco. Ah, qua i colpi lasciano a desiderare, colpi assalto di Tyson. In a big spot to win the game currently, but at the same time they have a max zone to rotate. So let's hold off on that for a second. Raga, vedete quanto è complicato, cioè quelli un attimo ti fanno danno, cioè non ti lasciano una cosa. Pare. Cioè ti stanno sopra proprio. Not Babbici.
did this happen? This is your first place team right now.
Ah, ma no quanti sono? È pieno, zeppo pieno.
That's just for day 2. The first place team has one person left. If Andretta goes down, their team stops getting
Mamma ragazzi, un
they might
casino.
drop out of first. All eyes are on Andretta for this end game, and there's so many people looking to take him out to try to grab the lead.
Andretta has to go back at the time machine. He finished 24th in the World Cup solos, so he could kind of dip into the past, pull that rabbit out of the hat. Maybe there's some magic.
Guardate che organizzazione, guardate. Sono organizzatissimi. Ma no, no, l'ho appena detto, dai. Ah.
It happens. So these things close range, they're so lethal. Just go down more and more. Now he's at 30, used to be at 100.
Quante persone sono? Ma sono solo questi o...
It's so hard to run away from those stingfish.
Sono 7-8 persone, diciamo.
And the damage to you as well. This entire box, too, this complex of build has so many top trios. And making sure he makes up. These guys are going all in on their HP. They're looking to just...
The storm has already moved away from all of our competition. The first moving has been revealed and is going back towards Dirty Dogs.
Sono troppo fortissimi. Sono dei mostri questi. Cioè, vedete quanto è difficile giocare in questa situazione. E quelli che prendono le ground probabilmente hanno grandi possibilità di vincere la partita. Che prende l'high ground con tanti giocatori sopra, vedete, Anas, questo qua Gildanas è in piena ground. E questa ha grandi possibilità questo di vincere la partita. Ecco qua, c'è errato questo.
The hill's in the way, and Chapix is the last person alive on this squad to make the rotate.
Chapix is usually the tarper. He could navigate these builds. He could do those layer switches. He could just hold on as much as possible, but he cannot just get any attention looking his way. Down at the ultimate low with only 25 HP. This is the defending champion here who had the momentum leaving from day one, walking away with the victory royale. He's gonna do all he can. Now they're in the second threshold placement.
È troppo complicato, guardate.
Putting some pressure down below. They have the ammo. Look at the AR. They have all the options they can to put the pressure down on low ground.
Every player playing scared, but fear gets relieved as the zone actually bounces back.
Eccoli, eccoli danni, lo vedete?
Purple lightning from Storm Surge are safe and can breathe for the moment. Hype will have to work overtime to try to break.
Ma io in realtà sinceramente non l'ho capito tanto questa cosa del danno, Cioè ti colpisce precisamente o se tu ti sposti non ti colpisce, non l'ho capito bene. Perché a me mi pare che questo si è spostato, cioè c'era la cosa che si è spostata, non ha preso danno. 17 punti, non sono tanti, Dentro ancora 23 persone, 23 persone, 10 team, 9 team, 19 persone, 8 team, 18 persone. Bella, mi sa. Quelli che stanno in piena ground hanno, cioè al 90% credo che vincono la partita. Cioè non che danno pure. Bravi. Bravissimo. Coprite di materiale. Vedete questo Anas, questo la trio qua sopra, e quello è caduto. No, rimani sopra, non ti buttare giù.
With the zone going towards their backyard, this is going to be the game that could be the signature game that I was talking about in day one. They already almost had it, but Hen took that away from them. They're not going to let it go away here. Phenomenal performance, the best performance they had today.
Anas, eccolo qua.
So hard for the low ground trios, it's so tricky. Everything's kind of just getting claustrophobic. The walls are closing in.
Questi vincono la partita, stanno in piena ground, guarda, vedi al 90% la vincono. Al 90% la vincono la partita. Vedi? Hanno pure 3 medikit. Al 90% vincono la partita, ci scommettete? Guardate.
from the eliminated bodies below. We're going over a bridge. It's
Ah,
going to be a
questo dopo
stalemate for
PDR non
about 30
andava bene.
seconds. If Anas and Thomas don't drop down, yeah, they're not going to. They're going to stay up, and Reason has some time to breathe.
What does Reason have in his inventory if he has enough builds just to hold out here? Reason, they had the day one victory out, game one, popped off huge, and Reason could clutch it. No!
Madonna mia,
Not so fast!
ha sbagliato qua, che cazzo ha fatto?
Reason still getting in the siphon. He does! If he can find Thomas HT, Reason could have
No, ma che hanno combinato?
What? Are you kidding me? Reason gets the victory!
Hanno completamente sbagliato qua, no!
Child, are you kidding me? Are you
Thomas
kidding me?
HD, 1 second off of the med kit all the way on high ground is what I basically see and how it looks like.
No, hanno tappato tutto, come che l'ha pushato?
Wins out the game.
Curatevi, no! Cazzo fate, dai! Vedete? Al 10% perché hanno pushato. Non puoi pushare con la safe così piccola.
What the heck am I watching? This is just the first game.
Infatti,
Wow, dude. Okay,
è un
Reason
bellissimo
got put
game,
in one of the
infatti.
most difficult situations you can be put in as a trio. You have one member left alive in those final few zones, and that member's thinking, okay, what do I have to do? Like, what? At this point, is it placement? Is it elims? He's like, you know what? Let me just channel my Sprite energy and just roll up in there and get the victory royale, Reese. That's what I like to see.
We cannot have tier 1 teams messing up medkit.
Per me hanno sbagliato a pushare, o uno però ha pushato.
And then as he started to pop the medkit, you saw him start to move a little bit afterwards. He'd already messed up.
Come finiscono le ccfn, come cazzo si chiamano?
We've seen a lot of this actually on NA East, and then messing up the timings of it. We're actually really yet to see that, and that definitely was a bit of a choke, which allowed Reason just absolutely to pop off. And you notice he was live as a solo for a long time as well. Huge props to Reason for clutching that, but they did win game 1 yesterday. Will they may manage to keep the steam going?
This is the story of last season's, champions.
Che giorno è oggi?
The last two teams there. This is the third place team from last season versus the second place team from last season. And if you actually remember back to last season, Reason had some phenomenal clutches back then as well. And he's back this season with just the clutch genes in his veins. How has he won a 1v2 against one of the best teams in the world? Like, just frame it like that, and you start to really understand how crazy what he just did is. And, we can...
No, che lo finiscono, che dove fino alle 9:30 fanno. 8:30, 9.
That victory pushes them up the standings.
Questo è intelligente, zitto, sotto su. Bravo.
Even if you just ended in second place, it's like, wow, you clutched up so hard to at least
Vinto anche intelligentemente la partita, direi.
this other trio, no problem. That's how we start the competition here on day number 2, the finals. Now let's talk about drop spots. Reese, at the very beginning of the show, I asked
allora, 19 ore italiana.
did anything get changed up?
Minorly. Look, minor things changed up, but some things don't change there, Zeke, because you know what? Have you ever watched Kiriachi's gameplay before? This team's been dropping here for a long time, but what's very important and very critical is the absolute sharpshooter eye that Kiriachi has. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. The storm down instantly.
That is insane. Look, we know what he can do with those kind of rifles in his hands. Similar things can be said in terms of pizza. These guys, day one, we talked about how aggressive they were in terms of eliminations, how successful they were out of Misty. And to start off with, they were obviously known to be contested at Misty, but they've still remained fine. And it looks like they have the potential to maybe replicate what happened yesterday, since it doesn't seem like they'll have too many problems there. Similar things can be said for Thickeners and Thomas, however, we saw there at the end. If you're going to have your drop spot uncontested, you can't win the crucial 2v1. What does it all mean? Regardless, though, you take a look at the standings and things don't look too different yet, considering that Hens trio and Refscars trio did
sono quella sono secondi. Sono secondi, possono recuperare tranquillamente. No, i terzi sono Anas, Tom, Sand e Flick. I'm Dread del secondo, Mr. Savage è il secondo.
Absolutely, and
This has just gone even closer. Apart from, let's be real, Janus Chapek's pulling away a little bit with their eliminations off spawn that they got. That's obviously a good few points. And no, Chapek's pushed all the way up to 9th by himself there. So 2 moving zones he managed to make it through, which was really, really big for the team. That's why they started to kind of take that lead a little bit. Again, Andrea managed to do a similar thing, clutching up all the way to 12th. So great performance from these guys. But again, Kiriachi's team, some of these other teams down that we kind of just mentioned, they're still middling right in that 7th to 8th. And we did see Bubak up in the end game again, so they moved them up 2 slots as well. And then from that big victory out, now Reason Deal No Riley up into the top 10. So 5 more games to go. Hopefully they're going to be able to keep this thing going.
Oh man, momentum, baby. We have it. We have more games here waiting for us. A lot of these trios are looking to shut down this top 3 because remember, it's top 3 that will auto-qual going into Chapter 2 Season 7. Do you know what time it is, Fortnite? We're getting right back aboard the battle bus. Make way, because Sancho West and Shywage are coming through. They're your casters for the game once again. Kick it back their way.
Game number 2 of day number 2, and I'm not even still over that first one, Sancho. If that's how things are going to go today, I am not ready.
I think that's how it's going to go today. It's going to go down to the last moment. We saw last season, it went down to the final game, the final rotations, the final moments. Our top 3 was still up, and this is the defending champions once again, who are essentially getting 6 points out of this engagement. And they can keep up that pace, and Chapek's getting that 9th place finish. They have an opportunity to just barely outpace Andretta's trio, who's been going really conservative. If you take a look at after Andretta's victory royale, that trio basically just kind of averaged out the rest of the way. Low E-limbs, decent placement, and if that continues to happen here in day 2, I think we'll see a back-to-back championship.
I'm liking how you mentioned the fact that they're getting, these elims off spawn for free, basically. They're the only team to have multiple double-digit elims from yesterday, the 10 plus. So, a big factor of that is these 3 elims off spawn. They're getting the chance to get every game and have, as you said, what, 6-1 so far right now? Like, they're looking real good off spawn. At the moment, it's a little bit more, conservative approaching this fight. We see Knight and Vortex and High Chris. I think they got the bunker chest. They have a lot of power off this POI, but Chapek's and Janus have a wide split. They had so many, a lot of access to so many chests. High Chris on the backside now. He's trying to look to go and engage on this trio, but at the same time, there's so many shields to pop and extras to hold on to too. They will win this war, but it's about that first battle as well. If they go down early, if one person gets picked, I think that's the only way High Chris really has a chance here.
Correct, and that has happened, and there's still be seeing clutches between Janus and Chapek's able to pick up the pace after Hintz getting knocked.
I'm calling it already, though. Just looking at the state of Vortex's shields, it's too late. If elims needed to happen, it needed to happen now. Is Chapek's actually going for this? I mean, he's feeling himself. The bow and arrow close range, but not going to be able to hit that type of shot. High Chris and Vortex are just desperate right now over these builds. They're looking for anything. They need one big shot, but even then, look at the minis in Chapek's inventory. He has so many to delay this fight. Mats are the only thing. They have 5. They've made so much investment into making this big bridge, underground base. And goes back into another house. Chapek's follows. Vortex has no idea where he is. They're refarming again.
The big thing that High Chris's trio is holding on to is they did have a top 10 finish with about 7 or 8 E-limbs. So they understand that if they're able to walk away, they'll be able to have a big game themselves.
And look at the trick that Janus 10 and Chapek's have done at this POI. They basically forced Vortex, Knight, and High Chris to go over to this left side. They used to have so much control. Janus staying back a little bit now has a chance for a big flank to actually corner these guys. They have complete control of the POI. Janus is going up, fighting 2 people by himself. It's Knight and Vortex. Chapek's has to peek from down below. 5 builds left on Janus as well. He's gonna try to run away, farm what he can as he moves inside a building. Yes, that's where you have the most protection. He's gonna play sneaky like while he attracts all the attention. This makes room for Chapek's and Hen on the other side to go all the way up. This is a back and forth, and it looks like they have the reads on High Chris's trio.
It really doesn't matter what weapons are in the inventory here in this engagement. We've seen a great makeshift shotgun get the job done. So you see that green makeshift normally in anyone else's hands, you'd be like worried, but look at it. It's going to be fine. They're setting up shy. I'll break this down for us.
Yeah, right now, too, it's not only a war of HP and loadout, it's a war of resources. While Janus, I believe, was on the backside and used all his mats as a solo, when High Chris, Vortex, and Knight wanted to respond to him, all 3 of them had to use their mats to catch up. So They basically, look how many ramps are invested over here from all three players. They're losing this war on resources. Only Janus has basically used his mats right here. Chapix and Hen have been just farming up the whole time. We'll see how that goes. It looks like Cerebrally is going to be Janus's team that's winning right now. At Steamy Stacks and Dreda, Savage, Refsguard, they had their early game fight. Slender got taken out immediately from what I saw over there. It'll be free for those guys to keep moving on. Right now, it just looks like Knight is confused. I'm not sure if he knows exactly where these guys are. Janus was out of builds. Now he's almost up to back to 200-300. It's about these resources. Just keep watching them. They have so many to farm down here. And Knight up top, he can't drop down to farm. As soon as they drop to farm, Janus will hear that. They'll go back up. Their position is so strong right now.
This is a great defensive stance. In the previous engagements, when I looked at the VOD, they have the potential to flank. And really went all the way towards Pristine Point, almost, it felt like. He went that way, looped back around, and got some big beams in the back. So this is not an engagement that's going to be over just yet. You already mentioned Retail Row already having issues. We saw as well Weeping Woods, Sabid going down in the feed. That's been a battle that's been going back and forth the entire time. Sabid having the upper advantage, but momentum is going to be the big factor going forward.
Yeah, and why is this happening? Why is it different from before? You know, the last game we saw Janus and Chapix go for an immediate fight, and it was scrappy. It's because of the psychology around it. Look at the zone on the left. They have zone at Craggy. They can really draw this out, and they've baited High Chris all day into this fight. They know they're not going anywhere. They know they basically are living in their heads rent-free, Janus at least, and they're going to go for this fight no matter what to try to win it. They're down 6-1 as well. Because of this, this is free surge tags for Janus. This fight will happen no matter what. And man, Vortex is getting antsy. They're already shooting shots down below Sancho. It really, right now, it seems like Hen, Chapix, and Janus are inside their heads.
The only time I've seen a disengagement here in the tournament is Hen's trio went to Flopper Island to disengage, to regain a little bit of resources, to regain a little bit HP, and then they came back and wiped out Knight. The thing that's going to be different here is that Tripper's trio that usually rotates into that little clip area hasn't been here just yet. Now they're rolling in. They're rolling in right now, and they're going to send beams, and we saw Chapix get beamed from that area here, and that could be just enough for High Chris's trio to find that opening to get rid of Hen's trio.
Now, what Sancho's calling for is basically a third party of a different team on this left hill that comes in, and Uguay 74, that's Chapix, by the way, was on high ground. He was in the position of this opposite team, Vortex, the night before. He got beamed hard. I think these guys have learned from that. They're now playing low. There's no chance that third party team can actually shoot them. So they're actually sitting pretty, waiting for Knight to make a move, and they can. Meanwhile, on other sides of the map, Lazy Lake always active, especially with Bad Sniper Marvin and SC. They've actually moved towards the center of the map off the POI, chasing the fight. Bad Sniper with the big shots on the Dementos. They're still going forward. This one's getting real scrappy too. I mean, Sancho, no one's holding anything back on day 2.
Not at all, and Marvin's trio had their best finish in game 1 of this day here, which is 7 out of the 12. But this is just a messy rotation. This southern rotation, I call it the struggle rotation, man. The struggle of the south right here, that's happened real. Every time, we've already seen it in game 7, now in game 8, you're seeing all the kind of chaos that's happening. Jamside hasn't had a great tournament run because of this, and you already seen Pizza, who's just able to be a little bit better because he's able to rotate, but now Pizza is actually late rotating here, as you see, Fast Rookie Art and Pizza on the backside of this engagement down in Gorgeous Gorge.
I've never seen people voluntarily go down to the gorge, let alone 3 teams to fight. So there's definitely something weird going on for their game strategies. Yeah.
I mean, you know, what ends up happening in EU is they stopped saying, you know what, I'm done doing long-range Storm Surge tags. I want a box fight. It happened last season. They get up in people's faces. The more confidence is happening, it's like, we could beat these guys. I could hear Levin saying it in my voice. We could beat these guys, and we could take it to them. And that's what I think what it is. More importantly, I said it in the previous game show. It comes down to elimination points being 2 points. You get the value out of that. We've already been seeing the 6 points that's been helping out Hen's trio, kind of bolt them up a little bit. They took over first place against Refsguard's trio. Wow, this is a stalemate.
That gorge is looking anything but gorgeous right now with all those teams in there and all the builds. While that happens, Forcey, Nathan, Tayson, they've almost even taken height over Percival. Actually, Percival goes down, Tayson misses a ramp, and now he has high ground. That was too easy. And now he's on the chase down. Percival shaking in his boots, getting absolutely beast controlled. This is about to drop into the box too. He's missing it. All the way around. He has an infantry rifle that's not too great.
Da lontano è fenomenale, ma da vicino
He's gonna escape all the way and make sure he finds his way back to his team. Bloom took big shots. First of all, actually down. You're trying to go toe-to-toe with Tayson, Nate, and 4ZR. I get it. Bloom, Percival, Tomsy, they're also really good at these fights, but this is, you know, outclassed matchup right now. And these guys are just working this trio, and it's good to go for these mid-game fights, especially when you're behind and trying to shake things up. It's also just so risky. On the same box right now, on the walls, they're just shooting pumps at it, not even swinging their pickaxes, and they get in basically unscathed. Tayson will be able to make it up. Everything will look fine. What a fight. Masterclass of the mid-game fight there from 4ZR, Tayson, and Nate.
It looks like Bloomy's luck has run out of that trio. They've been avoiding that engagement down to the West Coast. They were always worried that they'd be taken out. That's what happens with the Sweaty Sands teams. But it looks like Tayson's trio is taking that engagement a little bit further. We've been seeing Bloomy and Tayson's trio all of tournament long been competing for Central Zone and colliding. And right now, Tayson coming up top, who is trying to get a third FNCS championship. Now let's focus in here on Noah Riley. Reasons trio won game 1 of day 2 as well as last season. So we're seeing that they're creatures of habit. And now the changes, you're seeing the changes. They're actually boxed up, looking for Storm Surge tags at distance. They're not moving. They're not in the car. They're not hunting. They decided to become more of a, I guess one of those like little spiders that chill in those underground traps, right? They're just waiting for people to walk on by to get some tags.
They're trying to switch things up completely. Meanwhile, Shadow is basically seeing the light absolutely erased almost. Stompy right now gonna get beamed out of the air this time. He's looking good with peppers, but not finding a way to really help out his team. There's fire load round 2. Not really landing any shots on anyone through builds either. The big Elam comes in, the siphon finish, and now he's looking for more. Gonna pick up Shadow all the way up top, get that clutch. Revive, very nice. This is also just a very, very messy fight.
Very messy. The fire actually knocked their teammate. That's what happens when everything gets set ablaze. Wakey's going to go ahead and bring back iDrop into the fight here. This is actually another big fight because look at the inventory that Joe, Stompy, and Shadow have. Joe has so much shield, but at the same time, Stompy's trio has 4 peppers. And you know that's going to be a great win condition for Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. That is part of their game plan. They got a victory out by playing for height when the zone went down towards Holly Hedges Meadows, and they're blowing Storm Surge, and that's why they're taking this fight. But they open up that door and get greeted by some shots.
Dangerous for Joe. This man is a walking llama right now. If he gets taken out, golden tactical shotgun, you're talking about the bigs. He has so many. He has 3 still after using one. Like, you do not want to go down if you're Joe here.
You know this has to kill the deal, right? The feeling like they want to get down into that. They're so anxious. They're so HP thirsty. They want to get down there. Yeah, they want to get into that fight, but they're trying to slow down their ways. They're trying to slow down that temptation to get in there.
Tough on both ends. People are definitely learning from yesterday. Every time a team went third party into a fight, really come out with much and sometimes lost their teammates. So letting everyone just isolate and do their own thing, like us, watching along and having a good time. Hope you guys are too. Henry is here now with Jaku as well. Crazy solo performances to end up all across the season, and now he's looking to get into this fight close and personal as well. Some teams are still on that classic game plan of invade boxes, look for these aggressive tags, and most of them are also lower on the leaderboard. You were talking about it, Sancho. Elims are a dope way to make up, you know, some of the mistakes from yesterday, but at the same time, going for Elims, even in this spot, is so risky.
Now we're taking a look at the rest of the board here. The squeeze is being pressured by Kirachi here, and it's crazy. They're nowhere to be found. They've been not having this tournament run that we've all expected them this entire season. Has been just a more like a high, or was it a Checo, you know, situation for them. They're just not the same French trio that we saw last season and the previous season before that. Kirachi, they have an opportunity to close out that chapter here and lobbied that trio. I'm just flabbergasted, sir. Flabbergasted.
Red Rush Exteriors map coming through the first game, not that consistent, just 2 points in total on the day. They gotta look to actually just, you know, make things up. When these center zones, I feel like that's what they struggle the most. So hard to stay invisible, be passive, go for beams. They're fighting Flois on the same box right now, but not gonna really find much. He's gonna build all the way up towards Kaiser, down a teammate. Meanwhile, now this entire server is just devolving into box fights left and right. Even your former first place trio is fighting your current first place trio. Hengen is Tapix, and 2 of them are down. These guys are leading the leaderboard over the cumulative 2 days. and their chances of getting points this game are running out. Flames ablaze around Chapix, and he's taking ticks over and over, down to 16 HP. There's nowhere for him to hide. Shots on all sides. Every single bullet you see go by is trouble for him. His builds are still burning. Chapix, be careful. Flick's on the other side, low HP too. He's walking through flames, not even affected. What is this?
Through the fire, and I don't think he's gonna have a 9th place finish. No way. Not this game, considering that you have Indretta here that's trying to take that 1st place spot. You have Lanoof as well. This is the team that kind of lands at risky reels. And look at that. No. Storm starts going down, and Thomas HD gets taken out. And Nas is left by himself. And Indretta is now pushing Slicks. And Lanoof is just trying to back up his teammate here. And Anas is in a big shamble situation here. Storm Surge still ticking through, and Savage is going to look to clean that up. Yes. Takes it up and cleans it up. Now he's going to push forward towards Chapix, and maybe Storm Surge is turned off. Maybe Chapix could breathe just a moment. Yes, he could breathe for a moment.
Yeah, Nas, Thomas, and Flick, they were the last team that had basically, you know, no surge tags whatsoever, no damage dealt on the map. That lightning was just striking them over and over. It took down Flick first. Thomas went away second, and Nas could still not find any damage and goes down as the last player for the threshold. Aloof 6 and Marine is not going to be here, looking to also go across. And Dreda is just shooting them with stink bows. No, that's actually another trio from the left side. Lanoof's having so much trouble moving in. Savage tries to relieve a little bit of pressure off from him because they're getting shot too. This is so tricky, and Zone is still moving.
Savage's weapon of choice in this tournament has been the stink bow. When I VOD reviewed, they would get into a little bit of the storm surge. They would get like a couple spaces in and turn and just rain down stink bows. He was basically crop dusting the entire lobby, man. It was just stinky. He was getting a lot of 5 HP tags all over the place.
It's quiet now across the map too. Everyone's kind of stopped. That surge gets everyone really, really active, pushed into boxes. Now they're looking for position to play out the rest of the game. Savage basing up with Indretta and Refsguard low ground. I'm not sure what happened last game, but Refs and Savage were basically taken out. Indretta had to clutch. Tapix is still alive somewhere, it seems as. Hasn't gone down, might even have the reboot cards. It was gonna be tough to revive everyone right here. The zone pulls left again, so Savage, Refsguard, and Indretta, it's just a pit stop on this road trip. They're not done yet.
What is done is Chapix taken out by the storm. So now first place is out. That's going to be an opportunity for Resguard and Dreda and Savage to move up. Also third place, Flick, Anas, and Thomas H. we saw in the previous engagement taken out. Let's take a peek at Zone 4. It's going to be a battle at Risky Reels. And we've already seen some fireworks. We've already seen blockbuster hits already in this tournament run. I'm expecting another summer blockbuster hit here for Game 8.
Game 2 on day 2. This is very similar to what happened yesterday. Game 2 actually went to the Orchard, and it was this trio that ended up winning the game from low ground. They popped off. Queasy was on height, so maybe Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky might have some experience being high ground this game. But Indretta, Refsguard, Savage, this might not be where they drop in terms of end game. This is their home. They know exactly how to navigate the zone. They're used to the roads, used to the rivers. They take everything to their advantage and make the space. There's a game to win. It has to be theirs. On height, though, it's not Trulix this time just yet. Nate, Tayson, and 4ZR are looking to have some control of the game.
4ZR, Nate, and Tayson, 3 eliminations right now. They're another team that they can move up their leaderboard as well. In 4th place, one of those teams we've talked about, a conservative play. Just get into the end game, just trying to get positioning, not taking too aggressive box fights. We all know that Tayson and 4ZR and Nate, they're on the road to redemption. Tayson decided to switch out his teammates. He wanted a more serious trio mates in this back, someone who's going to grind with them. We're seeing the fruits of their labor right now, getting within striking distance of a championship. Nate, 4ZR last season, of course, on the road for redemption, didn't really make it into the grand finals. We know that their finals is all about that. We thought they would be there. They weren't there. So this is going to be an opportunity, a chance to kind of turn their fate and let everybody know that they still got it.
Definitely the most improved trio of the entire season. They're still looking for shots. They're not exactly in zone all the way just yet, at least not that half of the base. Gonna be praying and hoping that it pulls their way, but we'll have chances to move no matter what happens. Wakey down below. There's trouble inside a little bit of those lower tier boxes, lower ground bases. People are going down left and right. Exterior's taken out. Alpha having trouble, and then taken out by Noah Riley as well. These guys are popping, but there's so many angles they have to cover.
I'm surprised. Stacey brought back his teammates. Stacey brought back that team. Wasn't he all by himself? Like, weren't they just being pressured by Kirachi?
Yeah, Excuse was a solo. I guess they brought everyone back. Yeah, okay.
Okay, they're not.
Big reboot came through, but no matter, they were coming from the south side. They must be exactly where Noah Riley is too. Look at the zone. This is a huge rotation, and builds are burning at the same time. You cannot cross that ground. Noah Riley will have to go around. And Alexis Sweet Stacey, yeah, I guess the reboot came through in the Spire or Boney Burst. Yeah. They'll actually end up playing up the full game. That's clutch from X-Squeeze. Meanwhile, near the river, this is where patience is tested. Safik in Siberia haven't moved just yet, and they have the longest and toughest rotation with a team beside them.
They've been coming from Coral Castle, and for them to actually finish day one in around 15th place is already a feat in itself. They solved the puzzle of Coral Castle. For the longest time in the FNCS, no trio has really found success. They found some success. Just to paint a picture, last season, Kenzel, alongside with Waking Deceptos, finished in 30th place coming out of here. If Safik and Siberia could finish as a duo, that would be a great run, but look already what's happening. Noah, Riley, and Reason and the Deal have become a hype team. They stopped buzzsawing the lobby, and now they're flying high in the sky.
You're telling me Noah Riley, Badil, and Reason
never heard
over 8 hours after sleeping learned patience? That's insane.
That's a
they really want to win. They want to come back. Remember, Sancho, first and then down to 16th after 6 games. They're trying to climb their way back up. They're 10th place right now on the cumulative leaderboard. They're looking to rise higher and higher. Here is who is in their way: Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. They're uncomfortable right now. They're itchy. They're not used to being second height. They like being the highest in the lobby, and it looks like they have a little bit of advantage on zone. Just like yesterday in game 2, this team took control of height. They tried to pop off. They could not clinch the game. This time, they're tighten the takedown. It's not free for them. They have to get through Noah Riley, the Deal, and Reason.
How is Reason's trio going to be able to handle this? Trulix does have a pepper here. Are they going to go ahead there look for the chop? We've seen Trulix's trio get chopped before in a phenomenal way by the Deal's trio themselves. In game 1, they chopped them out, and they were able to take height and the victory out. So they're clashing again. Just look at this run, child.
Oh, Reason! I think he got hit by a bow from Trulex. They're screwing from the backside. There's so many teams moving over. This is huge for Trulex. He goes up. Yep, 173 damage above him. Must have been a big shot, but they're still fighting. Squeezy all the way up top. Meets over to Trulex. Look at how much this costs, Sancho. No shields in Trulex's inventory. Two of the teammates took 100 damage, and now they have height. A deja vu of day 1. Can they actually end up finishing the game, though?
They need the resources to hold on. Day 1, they couldn't hold on to height at all. They kept losing it here around zone 7. So they have to keep an eye on the backside. Let's see who's second from height. They actually have Andalix and Stacey, but they already lost a trio mate. So I don't know if they're going to take it here. So that focus has to be down on the low ground. Savage and Dreda, Refsguard, they have an opportunity to get the victory out. The question is, they're down the soft match. So if they can find an impact refresher, get that frag, get back some builds and hard mats, they can walk away with their game 2 victory out again.
What a risky rotate. They go all the way in. No builds whatsoever. Here's the refresh opportunity. Big shot from Savage. It's huge. They do get one body. Fully eliminated. The mats are back in the inventory. Savage, though, has none. Can't build any ramps. Can't do anything. Can't defend himself. Twos with the shots. He actually dodges them left and right. Savage is rolling, and Refsguard finds him. They're both going to be together. Refsguard must have the builds. They're an old mats. It's looking good. Payson down in the feed. Savage, Refsguard, and Dreda. They're at home right now. This is their zone. They can win this game, but they need materials.
The materials are running low, but at height as well, the materials are running out. And Dreda's trio is in second place. 4ZR and Tayson in 4th place. They're making the way, but look, their materials is running low as well. Pressure coming from height pushes them down to the low ground. It's a very dangerous layer to be on. 4ZR with 3 eliminations, 12 HP, knocks Mr. Savage, stops that trio right in their tracks. 4ZR on the track for redemption here, is barely alive, and is gonna have to go to the medkit play and hopefully catch someone else on the backside of the storm.
Does he have it down to 2 HP? And yes, he picks it up. A stop sign on the highway of low ground. 4ZR keeps his chances alive in this game. Trulex, Jerky, and Queasy, though, on height. They're still alive, and they're looking real good. They might not have too many materials, but they have a chance to do a lot of pressure down. It's somewhat of a bounce-back zone, so they don't need to do too much over here. A chance for a breather. Their Elam's looking good, 2-5 so far. Floki, though, is still on low ground. A very dangerous trio to go head-to-head with in the endgame. Hadi alive, sniped down by Lanoof. so many different teams down below that are so good at these high pressure situations. Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky have a big task ahead of them, and another mistake that might cost them a lot in the end game.
This is where it gets sketchy for them as they make their way down. Neb's going down. Floki, you already said it. A very nightmarish trio to deal with here. Trulex has 2 floppers, 2 med kits. He's going to be the man that's going to be sitting on the high ground and sending him much pressure. Clement and Septos are still there. Waze is already going in for the med kit. He's coming to the backside storm. Waze against Kiriachi. Gets knocked. And that's what happens when you do the flopper pay. You get the angles to send the beams on through. Floki to Septos and Clement. They don't see Waze. Clement gets tagged in from the backside. Clement has to play some defense. Clement hold on, and Clement responds with the elimination.
3v3, and this time Queasy can't choke. Trulex looking up high, almost out of materials as well. They have to try to win this game to redeem themselves from mistakes yesterday. They want to make up the whole leaderboard as well from what we saw before and yesterday. 2 Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky are looking for the drop down. 2 different teams, big shots below. Deceptos down. It's a huge drop. Trulex is the insurance. He has to go below. I think it might be the last one left here. One more flopper. And these guys are so in zone. It's too early, but he has the angles. Trulex gets it all the way in the end game. The same zone from yesterday. They won it out. They're looking glorious today, Sancho.
They have to feel good. I know they probably look at the VOD to see like, yeah, man, we had hype this many times. If we just clean up a couple of things, we just hold on, we get a couple, be a little bit more aggressive, get some elims, stomp out the low ground, we could win more games. And they just got their first victory out here in day 2, Shayo.
Yeah, before ZR, so many low ground teams going down to that zone. Uncharacteristic. That was a very, very tough game. We have to toss it back to the desk to break it down and show us what we missed.
Okay, all right, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, High Ground Kings. You know, if you ever look high ground, if there's a team up there, it's them. That's it. It's going to be them forever. Boys, fantastic second game on the day. And I like how the casters kind of set this up. They're looking for that redemption arc, right? They're like, yesterday, I don't even care about yesterday. Today, we're going to show up big.
Yeah, and I think like that storyline is so true for indeed reason for deal no Riley as well, right? You got to think winning that first game, and then it looked like it was going to be their game 2 again. Taking height so early in that 5th zone, they've committed so much to it, but again, it ended up being a little bit too much because Queasy, their team is so good at focusing high ground. We've seen this all through yesterday. I'm trying to think if there's a game where they haven't been on height ever in the history of them playing tournaments at this point.
Yeah, literally the whole day of yesterday, it was literally like, how's the weather down there, boys? You know, it was them up above time and time again, but they weren't able to convert it into victory royales a lot of the time, and that was the real issue. You know, we know this is how they play. You look at Queasy and Trulex historically throughout multiple Fortnite seasons, they opt to play high ground. This season, right, Jerky's been a spark for them. You saw Jerky when they were taking out, he took the Germans down, right? No Riley, they'll wipe them out, you know what I'm saying? And from there, it was really great play, and they held out height, and they was able to convert into a win. More of these, and they might sneak into contention, guys. I'm calming down a bit, but it's possible. It's always possible.
Look, Fortnite's taught us, right? Anything is possible. It just depends on how you approach that end game. So let's actually talk about this end game coming out of last game, game number 1, because we saw a little bit of a heel off that was a little bit of a flub.
Yeah, there was a little bit going on here. If you remember game back to 1, Thomas and Nas on high ground, very similar to this last game we watched with Queasy on high ground, setting up the heal potential here with Reason down below on the low ground. Now, one of the things we want to keep an eye out is, look, Thomas HC's just taken a tick to zone right here. If you notice, his HP has gone down to 90 at this point, right? No longer at 100. He has the medkit's inventory. This means he is able to actually use the medkit to stay alive a little bit longer in the zone. So notice he keeps going forward, but this is where a fatal mistake comes out, right? Next thing, you notice, again, after harvesting that, 2 builds. 2 builds remaining only. So this is also why Anas has to drop down, because he has absolutely 0 here. So he uses those 2 builds right here, and notice the positioning. He's at the back rather than being at the front here. Will this allow Reason on low ground not to be able to see him? But the issue is he's too close to the edge of the zone down at the bottom here, which means when he starts popping his medkit, I mean, we all saw how unfortunately it ended up going for him. So now moving down to Reason's perspective on low ground, this is a thing of beauty. This is what we love to see from a fighter like this. He gets an ass dropped into his box and hits a huge shot. But this edit that he's made on the right-hand side here is beautiful, because he has a right-hand peek on Anas who is on the other side, and Anas can't see him at all. And this manages to pick up a beautiful shot for him. And this, look, 5 HP and the elimination goes through. And then we said, playing on high ground with the med kit too far to the back with not not enough time.
vinto questo.
He ends up
Rajon
being eliminated. Let's see how
già la
Alaska
classifica.
transition onto these
Infatti è in diretta in vantaggio. T-Rex, madonna, Tyson è sceso terzo.
You know, they're having a decent day, but nothing yet that is comparable to what they did yesterday. The key thing to note here, though, is Queasy, Trulix, and Jureki shooting all the way up into second now. And they are closing that gap, Zeke. You know, I hear the laugh, Zeke, but you know it. They are closing that gap. They are looking to try and become FNCS champions at the end of today.
Yeah, and it's looking like it could be not only them in the running though, because Rescard and Dread Savage, huge game for them. 4-0 and Nate too. Look at the difference between first all the way down to third, and you can't count out Hen, Janus, Chapix too. Look at how close all of these players are in the top 4 with 4 games remaining. And I must say, this is going to be an exciting 4 games going forward. Any of these teams right now are completely in the running.
Yeah, ma a che punto siamo?
I feel the emotions. Don't do this to me. I mean, I'm down. Like, you know what? Let's keep making this a close competition to the very end. I'm super down. But once again, man, Queasy is real. I don't understand why we're just allowing them to be up there to stop them from getting high ground. They're gonna close out games to let this happen. But again, there's all these other trios, man. It's literally like there's a feeding frenzy on EU right now. And it's just like whoever finds that window
Pronto,
to attack, they're
buonasera.
gonna close it
Ti volevo
out.
chiedere un attimo una cosa. Ma domani oltre a geometria dobbiamo portare qualche altra cosa oltre a geometria? Qualche altra... No.
In EU right now, it's all about the win, Sancho, and it looks like Squeezy, Jerky, they're doing it the best.
You gotta think about it. Aussie Antics on the NAE's broadcast says that, you know, high ground gets games, low ground wins tournaments, but so far, Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are flipping that table, putting it on the other side, and they're looking really solid here in day 2. As I mentioned, day 1, they had high all the time, and they almost were able to walk away with multiple victory royales. And they most likely decide, you know, we just got to cheer up the defense. We have to make sure the backside is being protected, because that's all the time they have been happening, is they would lose it on the high ground retake coming from a flank with just normal builds. And that's what's so fantastic about this meta, is that you're able to kind of hold on to height. There's no bouncers, there's no shockwaves, there's no caddy launcher to kind of come up in there to take it away from you. So we're seeing what they can do. Now, the question going forward, as we're going to get into the later stages of the game, as you do see Weeping Woods already, the Save It battle versus Blaster is still continuing there, is who is going to change up their kind of strategy. And when they change the strategy, and this is where it gets kind of tricky here, Revscar getting knocked in mid-air, this is where it gets dangerous, because as I mentioned, what ends up happening as the tournament goes on, people change up their strategies and they try to stop you from winning. We saw it in season 4 when Mongrel's trio was being all of a sudden got pushed out of Stark Industries. We saw it in season 5, right? All the teams landing on SETI to slow him down in day 1. So the question will be, who is going to slow down Revscar? And it looks like Elocrass and Hottie and Tripper are here to stop and slow down Indreda's trio.
They're hunting for Revscar too. I don't think Indreda's going to be able to go back and pick him up. He's hiding under a bridge though, so those free mats might be tough to find. For Hottie's trio, they're actually looking directly under it. They understand how far Refs can actually crawl. Meanwhile, another trio goes down on the other side of the map, but have to imagine that's either Retail, Row, or Craggy Cliffs. There's so many big fights going down in Retail between 2 ex-teammates as well. So I would say sad to watch, because you want to make sure everyone here is having a good day overall. I believe that's Wolfie's finding it out. We're actually finding out with Kiko on that side, but as we look at Craggy, it might be a 2-man operation for this trio, although they're working really well. To get the end game, it's always just clutch. We saw Savage started doing the games yesterday. We had Dread last team survive as his trio went down and get all the placements towards the very end, and at least one moving zone. They're not clutch again as the duo this time starting off early.
I think the theme of day 2, Shayo, is patience. Taste is showing what patience could work out to, being consistent, just trying to work their way in, add a couple points here, 20, 30 points right now. They're averaging 25.88 points here, so they're doing really solid, keeping up a pace. And we are up to see, will Noah Riley, as you see on the bottom right of your screen, will that patience hold on? It's going to be tested. Every time you see a box fight, every time you see anything rotate out a little bit, that is going to be like, Do we box dive in? Do we go back our ways? Because, you know, habits are hard to break. You know what they say? It takes 2 weeks to form a habit. Maybe here in the Fortnite world, it takes about 3 games. Maybe that's how you have the rest of the way.
It might be. I feel like the habits formed in this game are also centered around emotions. Like when it comes to this trio, they're looking real good support. Meanwhile, though, Cracky Clips, it looks like Janice Chapek's actually ended up going down starting off this game. It might be an off-sponsor, it might have been a third party completely. But, you know, talking about emotions, they have to be emotional after that one. They're slowly falling behind these three teams, Jerky, Tayson, and Savage, game after game. They're down all the way down to fourth place. Used to be up top here first. Yeah, absolutely. Vortex Knight, I don't see Hypers that might have been the cost of the fight, are going to be here surviving for this game and inhibiting Chapek and Janice from getting any points.
The mental of our defending MCS champions will be tested. They've had lost only one engagement yesterday, and every time they walked out of it, they got 2 victory royales with double-digit eliminations. The other times, they ran into Vidil. Vidil had a vendetta. Last season, Vidil's trio got taken out by Hen's trio in that $100,000 box fight. I will never forget that call. That was an intense situation, and that's where it all came down to last season. We're getting closer and closer to the final game here out of the 12. This is just a halfway point here at day 2, and already we are already seeing like all the Savage fans are Hypers fans right now, right? All the Hint fans are like the Tripper fans right now. They're all hoping that the other like drop spot fights go the opposite way. And wow, this is the FCS.
Think about the ramifications of that off-spawn. Now we have a trio in 30th place who's allowed to end up playing this entire game, right? Usually boxed out by a higher team. In terms of Hypers, Vortex, and Knight, being in 30th, being in an end game, you might not be thinking totally of a comeback, you might be thinking about, you know, taking more risks, going just completely for the win, not doing the most consistent and expected plays. It's going to be dangerous for everyone else. This game might be a lot more trickier to navigate.
If they could break through that threshold, we're talking about thousands of dollars. So it's worth them to throw everything at the wall, throw that spaghetti, see if it sticks, because we're talking about a couple commas and zeros every time you move up that leaderboard.
Yeah, but I mean, we're working against the grain, right? People like Curiosity, like Force right now. Talked about it on the show. Patience. They're waiting. They have a game plan and it's working. For trios like Hypers, like Vortex and Knight, they don't care about patience. This is the first time they get to play a game today, right? They're going to be going fast. If there's a box fight they're not meant to take, they might just do it for the elims. That might change everything. We have a very dangerous trio playing this game.
And this trio right here, we haven't really shown a lot of love on the broadcast. But it just seems like every FCS tournament, there's always a trio that, you know, when they do that drone panic shot, you give up, hey, look, Stormy, they're there, right? They're there. They just keep repeating their name, they're still in this fight. And that's what their ride was on day 1. And they're still keeping up that same pace here. Right now, they're looking at 5th place. And with 4th place already down, they can move up the board even more.
I'll tell you why this trio doesn't get love. They're endgame mannequins. They don't do anything when they're alive. They don't get any elims. Usually when Curiosity 2's playing around, they survive to make very smart rotations, maybe getting 1, 2, or 4 elims a game. The thing though, I feel like, you know, this might be a situation where mannequins come to life. Last game, 9 eliminations, 4th place. They're definitely switching things up. Their win condition today is eliminations. They're playing the right type of Fortnite game. They need to play the other side of it though and actually have an impact in their zones and lobby. And not find themselves walking around right now, but yeah, Curiosity needs elims, doing it off start today. Need to make sure they keep it up.
Mannequins coming alive is totally an 80s movie reference right there. And now we have no reason. And Vidil is so interesting though. I thought this trio would be able to push out to coast. I thought they would go back into being more aggressive, being more that ruthless trio. You know, taking out those legions of players, but I don't know who is this team? I want to know who is this team.
I was talking about emotions before, right? These guys feel really good and they're happy when they're pushing teams, and it works out. When that doesn't happen, you start to get negative emotions associated with that push, right? Now today, they're playing patience. and they're getting points. You get points, you're happy. They're just riding those emotions. The patience is coming naturally. So very emotional team. What they're doing is making them very happy to know it's working. They're getting points. They're going to keep doing it.
They're going to the gym. You know, this is like the second week. They're seeing the apps kind of pop a little bit. Like, yeah, maybe I'll stick with this new life style, and at the same time, I'll stick with this diet. But these guys, they love to eat, and right now they're just holding on. You know, it's just, hey, they're calorie deficient. They're making sure they're lean out.
Gente si comincia a boxare, c'è un po' di tempo per boxare.
Other side of it, we're watching waves actually in the distance. They also like fighting a lot, but patience sometimes comes at an off-beat, like a weird time. Sometimes too patient when they should be aggressive. They're still learning that type of game, and they're actually very similar, I would say, to Vidal, O'Reilly, and Reason when it comes to, you know, approaching mid and end game. But we'll see. They're kind of in the same spot. Maybe they can also bring it up. 7th place. Rolling into really good throughout the day. The aggression hasn't been turned on completely, but you know, they're very consistent at making games 2/3 back from Nabs, Bubak, and Waze rolling through. Actually gets them all the way into the top 10. If they can get another third, I mean, lucky number 3 for this show. They're looking real good. Meanwhile, Forza Nate, Tayson, I mean, there's so much to talk about with these guys. Top 3 right now. Lots of doubts in the preseason. Lots of doubts while we're watching them. Qualifiers, they fixed everything. Once again, they're surviving after conditions kind of written down. Tournament. They need to start owning these games, making it their own. What are the names we were talking about in the last few games? We said Trulix a lot, we said Savage, we're talking about Hen. It feels like once again, Forza Arcade and Nate paint on the wall. Definitely there, but they're not talking to council. They need to be that way. They need to make these flashy plays if they want to win this tournament.
They can do it. 22 Elands in the heat stage.
Yeah,
it's in there. It's in there. It's in there. Mappy, Red Rush, Asterios. Not kind of having the same success that they had in the previous day. Slowly slipping out of the top 3 right now, coming in 8th. Shio. It's just right now their style is about playing center. So they're coming out of the Cami split. Now Andres, Savage, and Rescard, they're back in full force. They're able to get the reboot card and bring them back.
Eccolo qua. Non so se mette schimbiano, non mi sono accorto.
They may not have all the match resources. So expect to be a little bit more aggressive. Ryan is now sitting in the sting post, open up their rotation to slow down the peak. So what you gotta do, man, you gotta send in those stink posts to open up a little bit. That's gonna give the signal for Rescard and Savage to rotate through Lazy Lake, which has been a battleground in this tournament.
These guys have extra help on something. They survived so many crazy situations. Start going down off spawn. They have to travel to get the reboot. They do it in enough time and then have a chance to actually have some type of loadout. Your right spawn's kind of weak, but what does this mean for Rescard being rebooted? This trio allowed to play this game. They're in the first Sancho, right? Them alive, full forces. This means Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky, they have a tough time, you know, kind of taking hold of this game. They're not perfect. You know, they're gonna have a tough time kind of taking over first if that team's alive. Same thing for Forza, Nate, and Tayson. They'll have a tough time if Savage is alive. It might even look like Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky. Why not stay this way the entire game? Snazy's here. This is Southside and Alex's home. It's been invaded by multiple teams. And now they're going to just fight one off for the moment. I'm not sure how far this fight will go, but you never know right now. This thing's still being thrown in.
This is a wrestling match that's getting sweaty and it's getting dirty right now between the old guard and the new. This Trulix trio is a newly formed right now. Trulix, of course, playing last season with Pink and Stormy, or I believe something. They had a fantastic run. Trulix arming that RPG. Jerky and Queasy, of course, forming with their respective trios. Queasy playing with Roscoe and Paco. And wow, I mean, for them to be able to hold on right now, look at this. There's a 3-trio kind of standoff right now with Fast Rocky, Art, and Pizza coming from Misty. And then you have this team from Camp Cod. You know, Snazy's Trail, they're going to win this fight because they're low on storm surge. Because you come from Camp Cod, you know this is your opportunity to get those tags in.
That's a genius, mamma mia.
Finding a way to use bases with 2 teams around them. Shoot off on another way far away on a hill. That's crazy. That's huge for the tags as well. And man, I wish Ardent Pizza and Fast Rocky had a theme song. It feels like every time there's a third party coming through, these guys roll in with the jingle and they're the ones to cause chaos every single time. Whether it's Lazy Lake, now it's down below at Camp Cod. I always have some type of song playing in my head when I see Fast Rocky on screen. It just makes things crazy.
It's basically that's a third party, right? That's what it is. That's the third party. So that right now is just being so aggressive all over the place. And Lazy Lake is where they like to push on through. So they've seen some opportunities to get some tags here on the storm line edge. Red rush. Incender. Zone is pushing them a little bit further. It's very going to be interesting in-game style if it goes down to Misty Meadows Lake. We see Zayco's trio already setting up opportunity here. We've seen when it was here Lazy Lake yesterday, Jules was able to hold on to height there in game 4. There was 3 different height retakes. They lost it, and Pizza is actually getting gobbled right now. Down he goes. Wolfie's getting eliminated. Elo getting eliminated in the feed. Now this engagement is opening up just a little bit more. Just like Pistachio Night. Just opens up a little bit more before you know they're going to be able to gobble that up and get some confirmation and some 2 elite points.
That's rookie down the third party, not going to be able to operate today. For this game, the one trio to watch has to be Red Rush. They ended up coming second all the way on low ground, played it really well. They're kind of the kings of navigating Lazy Lake. What it looks like right now is they're actually under turns. This is going to be a very crucial shot that map has to hit. Surge actually goes away. You can back up, but no! At the last second, Surge stops 70 players. Happy overstepped the trio that clutched out this zone yesterday. It's going to be one man down. Matt is also most consistent in terms of surviving, being able to support his teammates too. He's not going to be there. This is a tough on day number 2 for Red Rush.
That was a big refreshing elimination right there for Andrena's trio, knowing that they had a reboot teammate. Now they can take his loot, Mappy's loot, and be able to move on through right now. That was always a question mark for Red Rush. If you're going to play center, you're going to have to hit your tag. You're going to have to find people in your rotations, because if not, Storm Surge will be knocking on your door to collect that bill.
This is actually tough, I feel like Savage and Restart. They like wide open low ground, so they switch layers. Their lifeline for this entire tournament, and their playstyle is low ground. If they don't have a system low ground type of terrain to play, they're going to be in trouble for games. Lazy, I feel like it's kind of like that with all the builds, the buildings, and the fact that it can go to the mountains and the river. They might be looking to play a little bit more mid. They're kind of trying to take it over from Red Rush, it looks like right now. And they know they're, at a man advantage, 3 versus 2, but no. They're going to sit up, they're going to build up. They know that low ground might be a little bit tough. Actually, still trying to hunt down Red Rush and Exteriors. Not going to find it just yet. But yeah, for this zone, they're going to have to switch up their playstyle. They're going to be aliens in terms of how they're playing. Very used, though, to being height. They're going to be in situations, not bad players in other spots. And there it is, the Red Rush elimination comes in. Gonna have so many more materials as well to work with. Once again, though, it will be a very different game plan we see this game.
The game plan will all determine where Zone 4 goes. Zone 4 is really close to them. They could work through these kind of natural buildings, the ones that are set here, and find their way in. Now we're looking at Tayson, Nate, and Forziar, who's made their way in from Sweaty Sands here on a very dead side rotation, considering that Misty Meadows trios have already rotated through. We already saw Pizza way down there, and it pushes south. So Andrea's trio has some work to do. There's a couple trios along their way, but Tayson's, Forziar, and Nate don't have to do any work. But Shio, look at how much of the aquatic lake is eating up Zone 4, and we already seen when it comes to the FNCS wow, I cannot wait where this in-game goes. I mean, I'm trying to think what happened last season. There was Staten Island's reference that I remember. There was so much zaniness going down. It was
too crazy last season. And for Forziar's true, it already looks like they have water in their lungs before they dive into the lake. They're down on HP. They're looking bad, pretty much like Waze right now on HP too. Has to dive into some minis and not a flop or a med kit. It's fine. But yeah, for a lot of trios, you have to be very careful at how much damage they're taking getting to the zone. Sancho is absolutely correct. Once you're here, it's going to take you double the build to be able to survive. You have to build on the floor. And then every single opening there's going to be even more eyes looking at you. There's no buildings, no terrain in the way.
So that will say, Queasy's trio, known to take height. If they can take it here in this in-game, that is a really strong probability for them to walk away with the victory royale and catch up the rest of Andrena and Savage.
That's all it is right now. People trying to catch up to Savage, but Savage has to go down alongside Andrena and Restart for that to happen. No O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason. Mid-ground this time, I don't think Reason wants to get headshot, bow sniped again. They're looking to play defense and make sure all 3 are alive. They're so good when they're a trio. Looking at the waterfalls on the right. They're on a higher layer. It's tough for them to do their classic box-to-box B, but they'll find a way. Bad sniper on the receiving end. They're going to be really cornered down here. Esti, this is their home turf. Sancho, they were born in Lazy Lake, and right now they're getting molded by Noah, Riley, Vidil, and Reason.
Yeah, it looks like all the tourists from Lazy Lake are coming in and kind of changing the neighborhood that they're known to. You know, people like the neighborhood was never the same. Everything's different now. I wish it was back in the old days, but those old days, everything's been upgraded and everything's been infiltrated by all the people that are moving on through and Waze right now. 22 below has some work to do to be able to survive right now. Nebs, Booback, and Waze have been doing a fantastic time of being in the middle of the pack at in-game, just getting there, but barely one above, and so many people have to go down. 14, 13 people now, and now they're dipping into the rest of the hard mats. They're on the rope shile, and they have gray on their layer.
Still have a chance to punch back and fight. Wade's looking for any shots left and right. Neb's actually going down on the backside. Boobach will have to try to make amends for it, but Zone's coming in, so they actually can't even get to the loot or the body. Wade's looking on the right side. Wolfie's looking down bad on the bill. Switches to wood, back to metal. Wolfie's trying to go for it, and Dreada might have been knocked. Queasy also down to the Zaiku. Everything is turning on its head, and it's not even rotating yet. It's not even closing in half and half. Hey, did these guys even reload? What is the mag size for Waze and Boobach? The shots are not stopping. Thunder down. Wolfie's low HP. They picked up another jam sites here now. The edge of the zone is just catastrophic for any team down below. Waze and Boobach are not holding anything back.
All the teams that were on that struggle southern rotation are now breathing a sigh of relief, and Reason O'Reilly, thank you, get up there and show that Bloomy's now being taken over. That is a huge play, and Noah O'Reilly and Reason are back up into the sky, and they are soaring. They may be soaring to the top of the leaderboard here after this match. That was a big, just an alpha ramp right out to and Bloomy's trio. I've been there before. I know what it feels like to be ramped up to. It's a scary sight, especially when you have Noah, Reason, and the deal going up to your door.
Man, I was about to talk about it in a second when we went back to Bloomy, but I was gonna say they have had height in other games. Their weakness is literally god ramps. There's been multiple games. I think it was Trulex who god read them yesterday. They're on height. They're getting bow sniped or something. This time, Reason, Noah O'Reilly, and Vidil. I think they understood height wasn't being that active. Bloomy, you know, a little bit new to looking at how to actually play it. And boom, they're up there. It looks good. 4-0 on Nate and Taysom, though. Once again, lost at sea. This is just so bad. They're the only trio all the way on the backside, too. What a horrible situation for them to be in so far. So close to the top of the leaderboard, too. Can't go down here. Nate trying to clutch it up. 6 HP. It looks like it's the 9th zone for him right now, but the moving zones haven't even started. Every team is shooting at him. I count at least 15 ARs. Somehow, he still finds a little bit of levity in the situation, a little bit of peace. He'll survive for a bit, but he's on borrowed time.
Nate, he's gonna have to turn into a Houdini to survive that max pull, because he's gonna have to go through the entire lobby. We'll keep an eye on the feed, but now all eyes are going back to our first place team of Refsguard, Dreada, and Savage. Zone thankfully pulls their way. Nate gets taken out by Jerky there, so that run is over. The Magician could not get out of that trap. Now, Refsguard, Dreada, and Savage, just focus in here. Let's tell you the gravity of the situation here. Throughout the entire time, they've been getting as many placements here, getting just enough elims just to be able to stay ahead of the push from Queasy, to stay ahead from Hen and Tayson. Now Tayson's gone. Now Hen is gone. They just have to avoid Queasy here. And look at how much damage Noah O'Reilly and the deal and Reason are. Over 1,000. Now this is where they traditionally are in the early game, but now they're doing it at the end game.
And this is one of the easiest zones to maintain height. So many top buildings, so many old builds to connect to. Noah O'Reilly, Vidil, and Reason have a huge tarp they can operate off of. No one should be able to really take it down. They could get stuck on from the back in these earlier zones. If they make it to zone 8, I feel like they can't be stopped. Meanwhile, though, on low, Stormy right above Savage. Snazy also moving in. Floki rolling through. Forziar gone and Hen is gone. That's 3rd and 4th place down. There's a lot of room for people to move up.
Second place.
Jerky can't. Second place is on a lifeline right now. One last teammate left alive. Height is just punishing everyone. Trulex, you have to stay alive for this placement, my friend. Your tournament run might be at stake over here on the 3rd game of the 2nd day. He's looking to see what he does next. Zone actually does pull away. It's all of the Trulex to hold on to spot number 2 right now. He's not gonna be able to get the revive. Meanwhile, Vidil's still popping all the way up top on height. Joe Shadow moving down below. Refsguard and Savage is still ahead of zone.
Ahead of zone and looking healthy. That's exactly where the position that there would be. Every time they find success at in-game, they're right then and there. And look at it. All the pressure's going down right now from Noah O'Reilly and Vidil and Reason here. Trulex is on the backside. Trulex has to hold on. Trulex is in 2nd place without any kind of HP to med back up to full health here. But now all eyes are on this new form trio that feels like they're just changed their ways, being patient. Let's go back into the great. The Deal and Reason now on high. Savage and Dread and Revsguard working through those buildings like you pointed out here, just giving them a little bit more time, a little bit more placement points, and now we're in the top 10.
And this is where low ground kind of gets tricky. Cars in the way, buildings you can't really break through in time either.
No builds.
Savage, no builds, nothing to really reform in terms of trees. They split up a little bit of mats. Minis also dropped down. It's looking like a 3v3 between Revsguard and Dread Savage. Reason, no O'Reilly, Vidil at the very end, but they still have to survive. Thomas HD alive as a solo all the way on the backside. Andalex actually going down from up top. The server's getting squeezed right now. And Dread Revsguard, Savage are waiting, and boom! This is big shots coming through. Shadow, Joe, and Stompy kind of stuck on the left corner. Savage, though, is caught out. He was too far, and he goes down. It's up to Andretta and Revsguard to carry that torch to first place all the way. Meanwhile, Zyku taking that storm right from the backside. Low ground is a maze, a labyrinth, and you can't just hug the right wall. There's no solution to this. You have to react to everything going on in front of you. Noah Riley is getting close and personal, dropping for height, looking for box-to-box fights. Shakeoffs going down. They still have mass to survive.
The Deal, Noah Riley are the dogs, are sending down there to get some big bites on the low ground. They're going up for some air, and they're diving back into the mess that's on this low ground. Opportunity here for another victory royale. Stompy gets bopped. Here we go. This is it right here, Shio. It's a top 4 situation, and I'm just taking a look, and I believe Andretta is still holding on. This is going to be a big game for them, but if Noah Riley, Badil, and Reason could get some eliminations and the victory royale, they're going to be able to get into that top 3.
A slow burning game going to max brightness. Noah Riley, Vidil, and Reason are all still alive. 3 different teams left, 8 players, and they have 3. A majority of the pie so far. They're looking to drop down in just a bit, but there's a big retake coming through. Is that Fury randomly going for height? You can't do this against the best aggro team. They're looking to take him down, but no. Vidil gets clapped. Reason gets also completely brapped, but there it is. Fury gets taken down. Now Noah Riley is dropping to the floor. It looks like, yes, there is one team down below. Andretta still surviving as a duo. 2v2. We got another matchup to watch in just a sec. The zone's actually pulling up towards the hill. Noah Riley in advantage, but he's getting prepped to dive below. Taking a big breath of big shields before he hits that water. He goes straight down. No, not yet. Stink Bows from Andretta. They have the Elan. Siphon comes through. Yes. Reason's up top with a med kit. Revsguard has the last tick of the zone. Reason eating the meat right now too. He's going straight for that drop down. It's not going to be enough for the heals to survive. Reason, Badil, Noah Riley. Textbook game. That was absolutely crazy to watch.
Was that 10 elims, 17 total for that trio? Was that and the victory royale? Yeah. I thought that was going to be a top 3. They're going to the moon. They're going to the moon.
No, they're going to a different galaxy. They're going to a different. We don't know where they're going, man. Yo, see, Levin Reese, give us an astronomical chart. Where's this trio going, real man? Show me the desk. Show me the desk.
Bro, we're full warp, dude. We're going to a different galaxy, a different time zone, a different timeline. It is just not even in the same realm any longer. And by the way, boys, Vidil's trio, that's a new elimination record. That's right. We're seeing action like you would not believe. Reese and Levin, I just cannot understand how these games just don't stop. It is just constant action, constant blows going back and forth. I don't know if my little baby heart can take it.
I don't think my big boy heart can take it. Like, this was an incredible game from these guys. Record-breaking actually for this, for FNCS Finals overall. 17 eliminations, the most amount of points in history so far. This is something that we do not see often. And we've called this yesterday and today, saying that these guys are going to pop off for the 10, 15, 20 elimination game. Insane.
Look, last season, they looked like they were going to take the FNCS Championship going into that final game, and things didn't go their way. But now they are back with vengeance. They had the highest point game of yesterday.
Bella, vediamo come finisce stasera la ccfn.
These guys are going to shoot all the way up the standings. They came into this game in what, in 10th? We'll see where they are when we get to it, but a phenomenal game from these guys.
And it's a very different game, right? When you can dethrone that #1 team going into the game, I mean, without Hen, Genis, and Chapix, I feel like everyone else just had breathing room, right? They were just allowed to operate without this, like, pressure, Levin.
Yeah, 100% right. Hen, Genis, and Chapix went down early, and we'll get to show it to you, right? Because the key thing for this team was the fact that coming into today, right, or coming into yesterday, people were scared about this team here, High Chris Vortex, who are landing on them. And people said, if these guys can't sort of get rid of them off spawn, there's going to be big problems. But you'll see here, off spawn, moments before disaster. Screenshot this, right? We all know this feeling. You're gliding in, you see your enemy has picked up a weapon, and you're still gliding in. There's no hope for you there, right? And although Champions eventually is able to pick up a weapon, at that point you could argue it's almost too late, because you can see High Chris there is able to go and do significant damage to his teammates. Similar thing here for Janus. Janus here, he lands in this building, he thinks to the chest, oh, I'm fine and dandy. No, you have Vortex here, he has a primal shotgun, and he gets Janus down to 31 HP. What can Janus do at that point? He's so low that it's just going to be incredibly difficult for him. And the big thing is like, this was the question we all had off spawn, what happens for this trio, right? Yesterday they were able to avoid it a lot of the time, but if they're just 50-50, we know what Fortnite is sometimes. Fortnite, sometimes you land, you don't get the weapons you need, and you will just go down like this. If this continues to happen, they're not going to be able to back-to-back.
Yeah, and this is going to be tough. You know, we did see them lose a single game yesterday, so this could be their one today, and if it's only one, that's fine. But they can't keep doing this at all. They can't keep losing the games off spawn like this. And that is, like you said, the issue of a 50-50 play early on. You can see Hen eventually being picked up, and that is the end of it for them. So you can see that they have actually ended up moving down the leaderboard, down until 7th. That's where they are right now. So they're going to have to play a little bit of a catch-up game coming up forward. But some of these teams have been popping off. Rescard and Drea Savage still holding on.
I know. It's so silly. Like, every single game we see some ridiculous stuff happen, and yet they remain first place every single time. Phenomenal stuff for them. But look,
prima and detto sempre loro hanno mantenuto la loro il loro posto. Ottimo, direi. Bravi.
Not so great games yesterday. Like, after their big victory royale, they really had the other 5 games that just weren't really anything. So today they are playing serious catch-up, but already with 3 games left, being 4th, if they keep playing the way that they're playing today, this is going to be an incredible finish.
I just feel like Sancho West, like, his prediction is just kind of echoing my mind. I just remember back before the final started, Sancho was like, guys, you know what? Calling in now, Savage's trio, game 12, they're gonna clutch it up for the whole champion. No, apparently Sancho was just like, what he meant to say was, they're gonna clutch up every game, at all the times, at all the points in the competition. My goodness, this is insane. This is absolutely insane. Fortnite fam, we hope you're enjoying all of the action. That's 3 games down, we only have 3 games to go. Now I know what you're thinking, Zeke. Let's get back aboard the battle bus. You're right! In just a little bit. I know, but listen, you're not gonna miss a single thing. We're gonna start game number 4, aka game number 10 across the whole competition during the break. So you're not gonna miss a single thing. When that timer hits 0, Shawwager, Sunchwest, they'll be there. They'll pick it up and we'll keep the ball rolling. So go quickly, find water, come back, and we'll keep this going here from the FCS in Europe. See you guys in just a second.
Fortnite be right back. Ok. Allora, ma come si conclude questa partita? Facciamo Google. Quando finiscono le ccfn 30 maggio 2021 ora italiana? Vediamo un attimo. 28 maggio 3 giugno 2021. Ho capito, però mi devi dire Pure italiano quando finisce? In teoria deve finire il 9 più o meno. Potrei fare un attimo un azzardo, scusate, mi abbandono un attimo. Vediamo quando finisce un attimo la ccfn, un attimo raga. Vediamo un attimo. Competiti. Dalle 19 alle 22. Termina tra un'ora. Ok, vabbè. Ritorniamo. Era per sapere. Andiamo. Andiamo. Andiamo a vedere. Eccoci, eccoci, scusate per il...
Three-time champion in Tayson, Nate, and Tayson can be that one right there. But the whole thing about this right now is what kind of games 24 do these trios need? And Resguard and Savage, they don't need anything special. They just gotta hold on, keep getting to in-game, keep trust the process. That's all they have to do. Now, for people like the Deal and Riley Reason, who have been on a terror, making their way up, they just have to now slow down just a little bit more. I don't know. I can't get a pulse on that team. It's like a team I've never seen before, you know?
They have 3 VRs, and today we're watching them, and I feel like we're kind of getting tricked. Their entire game plan has been good, but they've gone down at 27th place. They've gone down at 16th place as well. They're a very flip-floppy team. Every time they win Sancho, their next game, they don't get that many points. So we just saw them win another game, right? Game number 9 rolling in. And now for game 10, if the pattern continues, they're going to be looking at a game with no points again. They have to break this curse if they want to make it all the way up top on the scene. Chulak, Squeezy, and Jerky 2 have been attempting to be curse breakers today. On day number 1, in the first 6 games, they had so many good positions on height, ended up getting taken over. It was tough, it was rough for them overall. Today now, they're in 2nd place. They're right behind this trio on your screen, Savage, Andretta, and Refsguard. They've had a great day of games so far, but they've also been a little bit flip-flopped. They have a win, 17th place, and it's looking kind of weird. Everyone right now, this game matters so much. They have to be very consistent.
What's on the line is life-changing money. Hundreds and thousands of dollars for every single trio that we saw here are playing with that on their top of their minds. Every moment matters for them. Every build, every call out, every engagement's going to matter for them in these next 3 games. I can't imagine feeling the pressure. The only thing I've had that's close was playing in a local video game store. That's it. And my prize was a $20 gift card. So hey, that was the tip of top of my prime, and I can't imagine playing for hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Now 1.3 million total dollar prize pool when it comes to Europe. $300,000 for the trio who's rolling in first place. Squeezy, Chulex, and Jerky could be that trio, but one stakes from here on. Stakes from here on out. Those last 3 games, they kind of shape exactly how your entire tournament run looks. If you're behind, you have a big chance to get ahead. If you're ahead, you have to play defense. And these guys are caught in between, Sancho. They're ahead of the rest of the lobby, but behind Titans, they can't seem to shake down completely in these games. These rotations have to be perfect, and the end game has to be crisp.
And they absolutely earned their spot. They're going against the Andalexes of the world. They're going up against an up-and-comer in Jules right now getting tagged on their rotation. So they're clawing their way, trying to hold on and avoid anybody that's trying to pull them down and slip them. Now we're talking about movement. Badil, Noah Riley, and Reason, 6 places they moved up. They've had 2 back-to-back games that moved them up their leaderboard. And look at their strategy. They've just totally changed. And, you know, this kind of reminds me of, you know, at Rose where we're watching like Unknown, and all the question was what would Unknown look like in game? If Unknown down there in the NA, what will he do if he just slow down, be patient, that chaotic energy, that be able to box fight anybody? He was doing some things in the past that were just phenomenal. The same thing like as well, like Face Sway, right? What would Sway look like if you kind of got to in-game? What we're seeing right here, a game that they just flip-flopped everything, the script. They were getting like these 10 Elan games, right? When in the early game. Now they're getting those 10 Elan games at in-game, and they're getting those bonus placement points. That's why they're moving up the board so fast and ferociously.
For Vadil, Noel Riley, only really is wins that are keeping them in this game. If they're not winning, they're having very, very, I would just say, middling performances throughout. It's like 11th or 17th rolling in throughout the day. It's not looking too good when you look at their team if they don't win games.
And to talk about it and put it in EU respect, like it's like, what will Wolfies look like in game? What would CRR look like in game? You know, what are those aggressive known players? What will they look like in game? And we're getting a taste of it, and we're just seeing that if you go do your homework, VOD review, they kind of tweeted out, we figured out a plan, and they're executing that plan so beautifully right here.
We're joining in slightly late also onto this game number 10, the 4th one of the day. So a lot of people have already moved off of their spots. They're rotating and the zone's coming in fast. I was thinking to myself, wait a minute, Forza aren't Lazy Lake and we just started casting? No, this is all the way in a mid-game rotation, and their tags are looking a little bit low, but this is where they actually end up doing the damage. This is going to be a very good spot, but it's going to be shared alongside Fusion and Nexus down below. They love knocking on your walls, and then up top you have Scram, Q-Trick. We're desperate right now, looking for more points, looking for a way to get back into the competition.
We're talking about what does a trio need to come back. Thomas HC, Flick, and Anos have to have that pop-off game. They've been denied 2 times in this FNCS tournament. 2 times their signature pop-off game, holding on height, losing it at the very last moment. We saw the misplay by Thomas HC with the med kit here. Now, Reason, Noah Riley, the deal in trouble right now. Things are going to do. This trio that they're facing is no slouch. They've been taking out big names throughout the past 2 days. And if they add Noah Riley, Reason, and Badil, which they have done in day 1, that's going to be the big blockade, slowing them down from making their movement. This is the 4th place team right now battling. I'm taking a look at the board. They're facing the 9th place team.
This is just so scary from all angles. Multiple nights on the low ground. They're so tough. No chance on any walls to kind of escape. There's a trio on all sides. Siptos on one. Not firing away from the backside all the way up top of the hill too. Neves move up ways, as you mentioned, Sancho, not stopping the pressure. No Riley reason and the deal. They might just drop down to patterns. They won the last game. They might be going out early in this one.
This happened in game 2. Last time they got pinched, they were attacking Hen, and then all of a sudden, Floki's trio pinched them and wounded them, and they went down to a duo. So if they could solve what they did, the mistakes that they did last time, they could be able to keep pushing up their leaderboard. They did that by switching up a layer to staying away from that crazy low ground that's happening right there. But still, we have to keep an eye on them. That's what happened yesterday. All of a sudden, they just getting knocked down to a duo on that transition between early to mid game.
And now we see a Nos, Flick, Thomas, Hen, Janice, and Chapix on the same hill. Noah Riley, Vidil right beside them as well. The top 3 from your last FNCS making a similar type rotation. It looks very similar to game 6 of last season as well. So slightly, you know, the zone that's kind of central going towards the south. It could pull up the Steamy, who knows? But Nos, Flick, Thomas, we were talking about them a little bit before as well, Sancho, when we were looking at, you know, how are things looking for them overall in these 12 games. Last season, after 9 games, they were looking a little bit worrisome as well. 4th place overall. They needed to come up and they got 2nd. They're now in 6th. They're looking for that climb up as well. We'll see if it's possible. Meanwhile, the big pressure from Bubak is too much to handle for Noah Riley, Reason, and Vidil. They go down once again, and it feels like the pattern will be true for this team. It's always a win followed by an early knockout. Noah Riley is still once again hanging on the ropes. You can try to see if he survives and plays for a little bit of placement, but they're kind of deep in this game. Reboots are very difficult to kind of take away when you're so close to so many trios. It should be wrap-ups for that squad.
If there's a solo that you want in that trio is Reason. Reason finished 7th place in Chapter 2, Season 3. So that is going to be interesting to see what Noah Riley can do as a solo. But Anas Flick and Thomas HD, who have a great day too, have yet to have that. They're doing okay, but not by their standards. And now you're seeing in the feed Blasters, who just finally survived, save it down there in Weeping Woods, not make it into the middle game right there. But Ryan, Lanouf now have to deal with 2 of the Titans of the region ramping right over them, and they're not moving. They don't want any piece of this pie, but oh no! Chapix and Flick are colliding right here, and Chapix gets knocked. That's Hen. They're trying to move up the board, but Thomas HC is trying to catch them from their ankles so they can't climb any higher.
6th versus 7th. They're really, literally clawing at their ankles right now. Anas, Flick, Thomas HD, making sure there's no chance that they get any higher. They're going to keep moving forward, and this is going to be such a tricky rotation, Sancho. We've been looking at wide shots of this entire zone. There's so many trios that heat angles and locations. There's nowhere to really stop. Flick and Anas, Thomas HD have to keep going. They can't slow down.
And the ramification goes beyond just eliminations. Now that Janice is by himself, the solo champion here has to hold on as much as possible. I was going to say Chapix is that in-game leader. He kind of puts Hen close to him, but now Janice is feeling the lobby pressure, and it's just too much. Nas, Thomas HD, take him out.
They got the elim. My question is, if they stolen the energy too, there's always one type of pop-off game that comes through with Flick and Nas, Thomas HD, and it usually happens when a top team goes down as well. This could be that game. We're on their kind of home territory on the right side of the map. We'll see if it's possible, but there's so many different trios, shoulder to shoulder, side by side. Savage, Refsguard, and Dreda are kind of gatekeepers here too. That Stinkbow, Sancho, you were talking about it. It's rolling through.
Noah Riley gets an elimination, so Noah Riley is still on his feet, adding valuable points to the board here, especially now that we're seeing the top of the board a little bit in shambles right now at the moment. So Flick, Thomas HC, and Nas, you're right. They're in their home turf here. We all know when there's a game on the line and you are the home team, there's just a little bit more pressure considering that the zone sometimes won't favor you. And I think for the longest time, this is the first time we've seen an East Coast zone in this FNCS EU tournament.
That's very, very tough. Last time we were watching yesterday when game 4 rolled in, it was Lazy Lake we were looking at. This time it's going to be Dirty Docks kind of, or at least the mountain where the grotto used to be. Savage and Jenna Refsguard trying to take away the life raft that was basically thrown to Anas, Thomas HD, and Flick, trying to get them out of the top 10. They're saying, no, I'm going to deflate it. There's no way we're letting you sit in this base rent-free. You're going to have to pay a little bit of tolls with your HP pools. And yeah, those things really bled through these builds. You can see Anas's HP It's still slightly low. Thomas was down at 40. They have to pop a med kit to get all the way back up. They have to make this rotation down too. All that healing lost them a lot of time, and now every single trio is looking at them. But because they move first, and now these guys are moving late, they have a lot of different builds to kind of block the sightlines. They can just reuse them over, save on their mats as well. This is a pretty good angle as long as they don't get shot.
And along their way of this rotation here, very treacherous. You see Savage right there in the distance. We've been seeing Savage just rain down those think bows, getting those valuable Storm Surge tags that way. Triple, Elocrass right in the distance here. Shakos and Gray close to height, but I'm just guessing EMXR is at height actually with Podosite. Very, very cool to see them again.
Whoa.
Welcome to the tournament. Now you see Jerky Trulix as well at height as well.
And if you look over at height for just a second too, that split is absolutely insane. You have, I think, MXR on one of the mountain peaks.
Yes.
And then Podosite and Walnuts on the very other one too. So they have so much control. Endelux popping off against Nate in the feed. That's a top 3 team getting affected by some people who are way, way down on the leaderboard as well. Now, Trulex undersurged. Their entire team found some big tags. They're also looking okay for now, but in a desperate situation.
We're seeing what happens here when the FNCS on the line. Former teammates could go back and forth here. Of course, Andelix and Nate being the duo's champion. Now they're kind of go into this battle here. Now we're getting closer and closer to the end game. It's all determined where Zone 5 pulls. And hey, all you people that invested in this mountain real estate, you're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to move up north.
Absolutely. And every time there is a mountain inside these end games, it's always the top trios that end up suffering, who are pushing for that real estate, who get kind of trumped down and then don't actually have their builds worth anything when the zone moves back and forth. So I'm really looking at the top 7, the top 8, and how they handle this zone. Historically in EU, every time high ground's a thing or there's a big mountain in the way, all those big trios suffer. You saw it happen in Game 6 yesterday. You saw it happen in Game 1 as well. It's so unexpected on what you have to do to survive these big zones. The big height is going to be tricky. We're alongside Kiriachi, Stormy, and Toos to see how they rotate.
Everything's going to be low. Builds are going to be low. If you hold on to height, you're going to run out of builds. If you're on low ground, you're going to run out of builds. If the zone keeps pushing further and further away and there's no bounce back, expect this game to end up and wrap up early, as you already see Queasy's trio already making a stamp on height. No surprise here, but let's go back into the ground. Look at the gravity of the situation that Flick and Thomas HD and our Nasser facing. Now Thomas HD and Flick have to go as a duo, Shio. This is not going to be easy because it is Savage and Dreda there at their front doorstep.
And Dreda actually gets hit by Flick's harpoon. So big shots and wow, pulled before the wall comes down. Siberia knocked down by Flick. That's a huge elimination for the points. Big for the match too. This trio has been bleeding on low ground ever since Savage saw them. They haven't stopped the stinks. They haven't stopped the pressure. Sancho mentioned it. Their builds so low. Their teammate down. Anas, one of the clutch gods, not going to be there to see the end of the game.
Man.
And their builds are on fire. Luckily, it's metal. It's not bleeding to the floor just yet. It is. And they have to go all the way into a corner. They can't really build another box. Look at Flick's mats. There's just 140 to work with between both teammates. Oh my goodness.
This is not fine. This is not fine. Now the zone does pull their way, but they're going to have a tsunami of trios pushing right over them. And the one that's riding, surfing the top of that wave crest is Queasy's trio. They've already committed to this height here, but they have to go back and chop out who's holding it. And that was Podosite's trio, who late rotated through.
They're setting it up. They could possibly actually remove all of height here. It might be just one more floor that's connecting, but no. A quick drop down. Smart from MXR. This man must have the best headset in the world to hear that from that distance. He reconnects. Meanwhile, you're talking about surfing. We're not going to be surfing waves. We're surfing on the side of a mountain right now, Sancho. This is going to be a very tricky zone for all these low ground teams to play. I'm worried for Savage. We're already stressed about Flick, and they also have no mats. So up on height, Queasy is still trying for it. Here comes the big retake. Blocked by a floor. He has to waterfall down. MXR was hit, though, by Trulex, and oh my god, he's completely down. Marine picks up Floki on low, but it looks like Queasy, Trulex, and Turkey have height again. The retakers on EU, they might be the best in the world in doing it, but their mission's not done yet. Kiriachi wants a piece of the pie, and he's going to the sky.
Denied by Trulex, though. They have height. Time and time again, the theme for this trio is holding on height. They already have a victory royale, and they're right now in second place. But we all have to keep an eye on the low ground. Revsguard and Dreda and Savage are still doing well. And when they're on their feet, they're not only going to get placement points, but the potential to rack up E-limbs here. So the story is going to go back up to the height here as we focus on in. They've only had 3 eliminations, and they could hurry up. If they could get into the front, they could stop everybody that's trying to get to the front side of the storm and just get more and more eliminations. But look at how much much. This is so claustrophobic right now for Savage and Jenna. Revscard on the sliver of HP, and now Savage without shield is going to retreat back into the shadows and just hope that the storm just gives him a moment just to breathe a little bit longer. It is the first place on the line, and there is that big sigh of relief as Savage gets a huge siphon from Marine.
He has the HP, but didn't grab the match. Refsguard goes down. Right now, we're in the underworld of this end game. Another big shot from Savage. He takes down Void and Dread on the backside, but he's inside zone, getting tickled in the back, but it doesn't feel good right now. Savage down, and Dread a clap. That entire trio's taken out. The bottom side of the zone has been invaded by the high and mid-ground teams. Queasy and Trulex, we didn't forget about you. Let's wrap up this game.
In a blink of an eye, they had low eliminations, but now look, they have 8 eliminations, and they're gonna get another one. 148 Elo Crash. You got greeted by the big shots right here, walking out of Storm, and now Queasy's just gonna get enough of the little builds. It's a top 3 situation.
The 25 HP rock shot. Queasy, what a big strategy right there to get that elimination. After that, more elims and siphons come through. 2-man situation on height right now, but they're at the advantage. It's a 2v1. Snazy is back and looking to try to clutch this from low. He has lots of builds to work with, but the pinch is too strong from the height god team. Retakes, pressure, and strategy you can't expect. Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky are amazing at this game.
13 eliminations and the victory royale. The adjustments are ringing true, and we're seeing what height is doing in this meta. Last season, it was the low ground teams is getting these high number of eliminations and the victory royale, but we're seeing that the air is a little bit cleaner on height. They're able to have that endurance. They're able to outlast the low ground, and that was a phenomenal performance from Queasy's trio, Shio.
Yeah, and that was just such a strange game for all the low teams. It was so tough to play. Zeke, Levin, and Reese need to break that one down. There's definitely things to talk about in that game.
Guys, I said it a couple games ago. These guys are the high ground kings, okay? I don't understand. They're not even in high ground, okay? It's like, all right, this is it, the tail of the competition. They're like, oh, yeah, look, there's a trio above us, no problem, yeah. The moment they start to move, that's it. Queasy, he's up there. Kiyachi was like, oh, yeah, I'd like high ground. That seems like a good idea. No, Queasy was like, no, here's one floor. Stop. Don't move. And they were like, all right, sounds good, man. You got it, whatever. I don't understand, Reese. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't know how.
It was the chop play that really did it for them. Obviously, they saw they weren't on that 5th zone. They chopped it out. They managed to just get it from there. And like you said, we did see Kirianchi's team going for that. But you noticed that I'm pretty sure Trulex had peppers at that time because he flew ahead. If not, he was just ahead of the game, flew up, took height from there. But one of the big notes to know about that game is we've been talking about this team repeatedly having low eliminations over and over. Every single time on the first day, these guys had 3-4 elims, pretty much none coming to moving. I think there was an 11 or 12 elimination game there, which is significantly higher than normal. They were 25 points behind first coming into this, so that could be a huge clutch. They may have actually overtaken first place there.
Yeah, that is a genuine possibility as we sort of get into the final stages of the tournament. It's crazy to think that's possible, especially with how long it feels like Savage's trio has been above. But looking at these guys, man, all season long, when we've seen them get an opportunity to shine in, these sort of final formats, there's literally been nothing that they've done that suggested they wouldn't be able to perform like this. Before that sort of run they started to have, it was always Queasy's the most unlucky player, always having hardware issues, never able to play out a tournament fully due to some issues. And now that they don't have these issues, they are solidifying themselves as one of the best teams in the EU. Their style is so recognizable, and it has just been so fun to watch.
And you know what? To win the FNCS potentially, maybe all it took was Queasy to buy a new PC.
Ooh, that's all it took. That's all it took.
There we go. That's all it took. That's all it took. The second VR on the day, but third of the competition. Absolutely insane. Now, boys, we only have 2 games left to go, so I want to kind of turn our attention to teams 4, 5, and 6 coming into this last game that we watched. I mean, we kind of have to set the stage here, Levin. What do they need to do to look and strike that #1 spot?
Well, I think the big thing for all of these teams is that they have been incredibly consistent to remain at this point, right? All of these teams seem to have been in this position for quite a while. You look at Stormy, right, Kiriachi, and Tufus. It's weird. I don't have much critique of them. I think they just really need to have that game where they do just get a victory royale, right? They are still lacking that victory royale to sort of solidify themselves. And so maybe that's what they need to push themselves into contention.
Yeah, and you know, you said no critiques, and I totally agree with you on their team. They're really, really consistent, but just not managing to have those big games that they need. But again, Flick and Aston Thomas kind of in a similar boat, but they've had maybe one good big pop-off game, which obviously we saw was the game where they didn't quite manage to pick up the victory out, game 1 today. So you know, they were down kind of that 5th to 6th range, and you know, for these guys, they obviously want first, but I think top 3 is really where they're looking at right now.
Yeah, and reason O'Reilly Vidal went down in 21st that game. Right, so they need to get back to what they were doing just before, where they're getting these massive victory out games, because they have dropped down to 5th. But look at who's taken over first place. Just 5 points in it, guys. 5 points in it. Queasy, Trulix, and Druki are now at the top of the standings. 3 victory royales, joining Norani, Reason, and Vidal in that free group. Like, this is some crazy stuff.
This is actually really insane, because I think this is the first time today that we've seen Rescard and Dret and Savage lose the first place slot. So, right, this is the first time they've gone down, but again, only 5 points between it. And man, if you look at this, you see Queasy, Trulex, and Jerky all the way with 3 victory royales. Every time we look at a match, 5th zone, we talk about them, they're relevant. It's hard to say that they do not belong at the top of the leaderboard based off their performances these last 2 days.
100%. Now let's take a look at 11 to 20, because some of these teams will still need to have big games if they want to push themselves into that top 10. Look, if first place becomes out of grabs, you still want top 3, right? You want an auto-call spot for the next finals. Some of these teams may be able to do that. I feel like we have the same conversation about Joe, Stompy, and Shadow. They had that 1 victory yesterday, not been able to do much outside of that. I think a big disappointment here is Red Rush, Exteriors, and Mappy, who came into today in what, 2nd place or something?
They were 3rd,
you know, 3rd place, and now they're sitting in 12th, right? Things have really fallen off for them. They need to sort of pick things up. And Floki, Clement, and the Sipsos, to me, right, they're what, the 2nd best team today. If you were just getting the standings from today, they've been like a top 3 team today. But because of their failings from yesterday, it is still an uphill battle for them.
Yeah, yesterday is a day that they probably won't want to talk about too much, to be honest. But, you know, we have to when you look into the cumulative scores. And, you know, them in 14th right now, definitely, that's still a huge achievement. But these guys were looking for a top 3 finish, let's be real. Same with some of these other teams on here. You know, Flois, Kaiser, and Hellfire. If we're going to talk about a team that has potential to pop off, thinking back to their qualifier where they managed to drop 17 eliminations, had 2 other games in double digits, you've got to think that Flois, Kaiser, Hellfire, if they get going, if they get situated on a low ground situation where Savage is not already there, these guys must be able to pop off a huge amount. And yes, they're currently in 20th, right? They're not in there. But again, every time you climb placements higher from here, more and more earnings over and over again. So it's definitely worth, and obviously the bragging rights. Came 15th sounds much cooler than 20th.
Bragging rights. Yeah, 100%. You always want the bragging rights. And the extra dosh does help a bit, doesn't it? So,
a little bit.
Not bad. Yeah.
Oh, man, boys. We only have 2 games left to go. It is a battle between 1st and 2nd place. How is this all going to go? How is this going to unfold? Hang on to your seats, Fortnite fam. We're going into the next game on the day. Sancho with Shy Wager. Back over to you, friends.
Thank you so much, Zeke, Levin, and Reese. 2 teams at the top with 2 more games left to play. Sancho could not be more perfect. This game matters the most for everyone on the board, though.
It's a 2-trio race, and it's going to come down to the final moments. 2 more games here for the FNCS EU region. Thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $1 million prize pool is at stake. And now, Trulix, Queasy, and Jerky, the only thing that concerns me is this split that they have. We saw in the qualifier stage numerous times somebody random just hiding and waiting out, where they go to that character down there in Flush Factory. And look, bad sniper Marvin trying to be the kind of spoilers here for a moment, looking to all that they can to kind of return their fate and maybe net themselves a little bit more scratch.
Trulix is hyper aware. They've been interrupted so many times in unique ways. They're done playing it, you know, risky whatsoever. They always leave one person behind. This time it'll be Trulix. To make sure no one's flying in, he always ends up landing early because this kind of generator building is on the upside, a higher point of landing. So everyone else on their team, Queasy and Jerky, they end up going a lot lower. They're still gliding. Meanwhile, Trulix can be active and defend the team. Save it already down in the feed to Nikov. That Weeping Woods fight is just going over and over and over again. Past that, no O'Reilly, Vidal, Reason. I mean, this has to be the game to watch for them. Every time they have a good game, it's followed by a bad one. Every time they have a bad game, it's followed by a 1st place, at least today. So patterns are correct, they could win this game and have a big showing. Meanwhile, at Craggy Cliffs, 11th game, Sancho, the fights don't stop.
This is going to be monumental for Chapix and Hen and Janice. They have to walk away from Craggy Cliffs for them to have a chance to catch up. Right now, they slipped down one spot. Now they're in 8th place. This is what happens here when you're being contested. Hi, Chris, Vortex, Knight, the thorn on our champion's side here. This is one of those teams that just haven't been able to, you know, discourage them from dropping. It was that one loss that they had in the previous day. Take a look here. The winner of the last 2 EU finals had 3 victory royales, and we had 2 trios in this tournament here from Badil and Jerky's trio having already accomplished that. But there's still 2 more games left. We'll all have eyes on these engagements and, of course, our elimination feed.
Man, the slow burn type of game just kind of ruins the game plan for Chapix, Janice, and Hen. They like having control of the map as well as fighting this kind of big battle off spawn. It's going to be tough, Sancho. We were talking about they need this game is because they're in 8th place rolling in. About 90 points away from first place. They definitely need a double-digit elim win to catch up for the win. In terms of catching up, you know, top 3, they're about 30 points away. So once again, a game of a difference. They're going to disengage.
Non voglio parlare,
They go for the fish.
vorrei più vedere che cosa fanno questi giocatori che sono molto forti. Poi sto aspettando rispetto a una partita normale, si prendono su una città, invece qua tutti sono sparsi per la mappa. Direi ottima tattica, questi fanno la fishing, che fanno?
We're here at
31 team,
on the 4th place team in the Kiriachi Stormy.
91 persone, 31 team.
The team that has been having a really solid run from rotations. Usually when you have Slurp Factory contested here, and now going against that is Shadow's trio there who are doing that Shantytown split. Now we have eyes here on the 2nd place team who have been holding on to 1st place throughout the entire tournament, and they've just been kind of just putting in kind of like a points like really solid, you know what I mean? But when you have the teams that have been putting in some astronomical numbers, some huge performances, like Badil and Easy, who has just been just as consistent, but you're just seeing the 2 clashes of meta style, right? The high ground and the low ground. And right now, the high ground is just winning it out, and they have the advantage, but it's only by 5 points. So look at the gold number. Right now, that is just in this session, 118. On the other side, Quizzy is at 136. So if Refsguard's trio could get those 5 points, they automatically close the gap in the cumulative leaderboard.
Absolute 5-point difference. At the same time, here is the catch up. We're fighting this fight on a brand new map. It looks like usually Craggy Cliffs. Now we're on that Flopper Island. Chapix, Janice, and Hen have all the high points, but High Chris has actually made a little bit of a base on the right side. Gonna be looking for a shot, but he's playing it sneaky. They're not letting these guys extend these builds whatsoever because they might be able to find High Chris on his spot. Very smart from Vortex. As he does that, though, gets bopped. Low on shields. Janice down below 2, and he's almost down with no HP.
What a great adjustment from High Chris trio. Last time they let this trio disengage to Flopper Island. This time they decided to take the fight to him right on the island.
Yeah, exactly. This is going to be the wrap-up of the tournament as well. There's no point really for this trio to roll in and disengage. They're going to keep chasing down, but Chapix stops their chase at least a little bit. Knight's 1 HP too. If he drops down and sees him with a quick flick, he can end his big run too. He's going to stay sneaky. Meanwhile, because of this, there'll be enough relief of pressure for Janice to get revived back up. A medkit in play too. They're going to be looking fine for now. Once again, though, Sancho, zone is not here. And these guys are already running through their meds and loot. Look at Chapix's inventory. This is not a Chapix loadout. Makeshift AR, blue pump. Finally find the sneaky man. Good night. Good night, literally, and that's gone. So these guys get to play their game out for the rest of game number 11. The thing is, though, they had to invest so much here. Look at all the hard mats. They barely got the fish, and zone's coming in.
It is vital for them to find a vehicle like you see in Nos Trio, put some chunker tires on that, which is a new introduction here in the season that just allows you to move right over the terrain a lot faster. So they're going to sit there on Flopper Island, no doubt, hit up all the fishing holes. I've seen Thomas AC Flicking and Nos here are going to visit this character to be able to buy a rift, and they're going to be able to move on through. It's so exciting to always see a rift. It just makes me so nostalgic. Oh, Rift to Goes, I love you.
They'll be able to rotate fast. Meanwhile, Savage, oh my goodness, almost thrown off course. It's good.
It's a little, it's a little tough. A little bit, the suspension's a little high, you know?
Yeah, I'm not sure they were made to literally jump buildings, but Refsguard makes it happen. And while he does that, they're gonna look for tags as well. This is a mobile surge of vehicle, and they're looking for it. They'll try to go for it. They'll move out. Refsguard will be able to heal and drive at the same time, or at least be in the car at the same time as he heals. Tulek, Squeezy, and Jerky, though. This is kind of the perspective. Second place and first, back to back. They got twos. I think they'll look to just hit that bow shot with the pump shot. Yes, they combine it for the big surge tags too. And that's gonna be looking good for them overall. Stinkfish, 6 of them in play. You saw before Sancho, Stinkfish kind of ruined one of their games. Now they're gonna look to actually use them to get ahead of the competition.
Sometimes the Slurp Factory team used to go out into these fishing spots. They become fishermen for a bit. That's a big part of Kirachi's game plan. They have about 3 slots that's all dedicated to heals with floppers and mobility. If they had a spicy fish, that's what they use to overtake height. So that's why you found, you know, 2's way out there by themselves. So that's a great adjustment by Queasy's trio deciding to push, which has been so far a chill ride for that team coming out of Slurp Factory.
And from the top 10 right now, you're also looking to grab mountains or grab guardian posts. You saw a Nos at one of them. Refsguard's going to be up towards the middle of the spire as well.
5 points, bro. 5 points. This is good. You know what I mean? That's what separates them from first place. And we already saw Queasy got another one, so it's actually 7 points, right? The elimination, 7. We have yet to get to that placement threshold in the top 25, so 7 points right now separating first and second.
Meanwhile, everyone's trying to catch up. They're kind of in a little bubble of their own, about 50 points ahead of everyone else. Nos, Flick, and Thomas, even the team all the way up top with Endless Snazy, they need wins. They need wins right now to get all the way up top, but only one team can walk away with that victory royale. Only one team can really afford to push for double-digit elims and be safe at the same time. So Nos, Flick, and Thomas will try to keep rotating away.
And I have to say, you know, Andalix, they're coming back slowly. They're in top 10. In the previous game, they moved up from 13th to 10th place. They have 190 points. They're slowly turning their fate. It's one of those teams, just like in the playoffs of any kind of sports. They're a veteran team. You don't want to see them. You know they're going to be a tough out if they're along their rotation. So no doubt, seeing an Andalix trio sitting in front of you, that's not good news for Anas, because that trio is going to continue on the rotations. As you see, Reason actually knocking Pizza in the feet.
Pizza going down. Reason feels like these guys are already hot off their step, looking to have another great game. Zykusan and Jules, I would say one of the most surprising performances of this FNCS. Rolling in, they look so good on height. They look so good in their heat as well. They just lack that experience of control, but so far today, 7th place. They're right behind Flickanos Thomas and ahead of Janice Chapix and Hen. They're next to legendary names rolling in on one of their first FNCSs, you know, looking really good too. They're just having a very stellar performance. Excited to see how they look in future seasons. The games aren't even done today. If they figure out how to make up for their lack of experience, take more risks, they can get even higher on the boards today.
They didn't even make it into round 4 of any of the qualifiers, so they are progressing right. And you're right, if the career trajectory, if they decide to stay together as a trio, they could definitely keep having a better performance in the next finals.
Asroki looks like he's back up with Pizza and Ardit, so the full elimination didn't really come through. Savage, although, has kind of invested a lot into this game. Must be medkits or something that are already down, maybe big pots. Still has that stink bow, is gonna be moving over. Ooh. Wait for the threshold, wait for it, wait for it.
I'm waiting.
Boom, 214, we learned the lessons, yeah.
Yes. Yes.
They're looking real good, 214 above, and they still have chances to do more damage. Who's right next to him? Yeah, but it's Fast Roki. They don't like letting a trio getting away for free. Fast Roki, a lot of the times, if they're down on Surge, they like having these box fights, but I don't feel like in the last 2 games they're gonna be playing that super risky.
Just showing you there, they take a lot of like moments here to fight this engagement. You have Wakey's trio out there. You have Vidil's trio just a little bit further. So this wedge is already being filled with big names of the EU region. And 7 points is all they need right now. So when that number gets to 222, they catch up to Queasy. Placement points haven't been doled out. 5 points are going to be doled out in about 4 places. And the lobby focus is coming in. This is second place here on the ropes. They might get KO'd. And that's Noah Riley. You're applying pressure on the other side. That's Asterios applying pressure on the other side. Here comes the stink. The gas may be a little too dense for them. And Dreda now down without any shield on the sliver of life. Savage is on the same way and able to get back to 100 HP, but Roughsguard goes down. Too much pressure from all angles, as my boy Shio will say. Left, right, up, down, doesn't matter where they look, they were just getting too much, and now it all falls on Indreda's shoulders. This will be by far one of the lowest finishes they had throughout the entire tournament, and this is second place once again. 6 HP and a dream, and that dream is being turned into a scary nightmare. Can they get it? Whoa, hold on just for a brief moment. And that's what FNCS comes all about, the brief moments. They would res your teammate Revsguard and Dreda, the classic duo. Now have to hold on tight. It's not a savage clutch that they need, and now it's a duo clutch of Dreda and Revsguard.
Don't try it. Red Rush Mapping Serial still looking from the outside in. And Dreda, their second place ship, caught in a Bermuda triangle of pressure and stakes all around. Might be a shipwreck here in just a second. It's going to be so tough to get out of here. They're not sure what's outside these walls. You can hear the footsteps too. Shield for Revsguard. He went down to stink, so it still stays up for him. They get to save a lot on resources. In terms of the meds they have, they can see, I feel like, Revsguard through these walls. No, they're metal walls, gonna be tough. There comes all the pressure. They have to move. Edit out right, but the Shriel's waiting outside too. 65 damage above, and they're still getting tagged. This is rough for Dreda and Revsguard for the moment. They're caught right back on storm line 2. Third zone moving in 45 seconds. This survival story has a timer. They not only have to escape this pressure, but then move in a time limit too. So this is going to be really strugglesome. 10 kills on Dreda 2. This is just too rough.
My oh my, the shoes on the other foot. We saw this engagement down in Lazy Lake, and we saw Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage get a big key refresher off of Mappy's trio, and Mappy is just disengaging right now, leaving this trio on the island all by himself with no life raft to be able to survive, and Storm Surge is raining down terror. 55 below, not enough minis all over, but Red Rush, he sees that, he's trying to capitalize, but some tags on Red Rush here. Revsguard and Dreda here, it's all but a matter of time for them to be eliminated here in one of the second games, and the Raptor says hello, but Asterios is the ultimate king. He takes them down, and now Red Rush, Asterios, and Mappy get revenge, and what an almost bad timing for Dreda, Revsguard, and Savage to go down, because Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky are still on their feet, looking good, feeling good, breathing in that fresh air.
Pressure, first place right now, watching in the feed, second goes down. Revsguard and Dreda Savage are going to be one of the only top trios in the game right now not to be playing out this specific endgame. This is a chance for a lot of people to catch up, but at the same time a chance at the second last game of the EU Finals for Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky to really solidify that first place spot.
È una squadra con tanti talenti.
I think they have to be very, very, have to keep wary of this Vidil's trio throughout the entire day. They've been playing high. They've already defended them once. They already got a huge bow shot to stop their push. So we have to keep an eye on what kind of position does Vidil trios have. But let's keep an eye on here on our third team, Taste It.
Third place looking to take over second, but it's a 50-point gap they have to make up. Looking in for a big fight too. It's a Tomzy. Bloomy already a little bit affected. I think Percival's down. Not going to be trading lives either. It's just damage. They pick up another. Find Percival. Looks like they found one more as well for the entire engagement. Have to take out the full trio, but they'll take those points. Let's talk about patterns and weaknesses for the two trios we were just talking about. Sancho, Queasy, and Vidil. For Vidil, once again, we're having bad games and then a victory royale. Back to back to back. Their last game was just bad. They're slated to get a VR right now. Especially we've been seeing them picking up eliminations all throughout the map. Now for Queasy, Trulix, and Jerky, their biggest weakness is having height like they have right now and not being aware of the lobby getting overtaken. This is a scary situation. The only games they've really choked and lost lost is when they actually have high ground. Their consistent games is where they play mid, they look fine. This is such a good spot for them. They look like kings right now. But that throne is definitely up for grabs. They have to be very, very vigilant. Think about Thomas HD Flick and Anas as well. This is not a pattern we've seen for an entire season, but these last two games usually is where they operate. They love the pressure. They like being in 6th place all the way behind. Now, it's a big gap. They're about 80 points away or 60 points away from the first place, Queasy, Trulux, and Jerky. But if they can catch up now, it has to be the time to take them off the fight as well.
Let me introduce some other foes of Queasy's way. You have Shadow's trio, who are known to be aggressive at height. You also have a trio in Hen right behind them, who in Game 4 yesterday were able to flank them and sneak up here. So all depends where the Zone 5, half and a half out. You already seen O'Reilly already invested here in about 0 seconds. Here we go, about a minute. We're going to see Zone 5 revealed, and let's see if Queasy or O'Reilly or Shadow gets that first moving.
We'll talk about the zones of the map too. As these guys drop down pressure, we'll see a bunch of eliminations come through. The more important thing is we haven't seen a Slurpee endgame zone just yet in these FNCS finals. We've seen Caddy multiple times, Lazy Lake multiple times. The Orchards, Fire in the middle as well, has been big in Vidal. They like to operate there. Everyone has experience on all sides of the map. Over here, though, the bottom left side of the map, we have not seen any of these teams have their takes so far inside this lobby. This is going to be a brand new, fresh game. Noah Riley's looking for picks already. Thomas HD got some in the feed. Slender is still alive this game. All the trios we're used to seeing go down are up and ready. This is a completely fresh experience.
What a solid position right here. Look how much lobby is just coming their way from Noah Riley, Badil, and Reason. They haven't been able to get there. There is finally a good knock on Domentos right there, but those are the valuable elimination points they could to close the gap because they have a lot of work to do considering that Queasy's still up. Here we go. Zone 5 is about to be revealed. This is going to be huge for the second to last game here of the EU finals. Let's see where it goes.
Checking out all sides of the map. Looks like people are starting to rotate in towards this top right of Slurpee Swamp. Noah Riley basically have the gatekeep position, at least from their trio. I see one on absolute height. It might be Trulex. No, it's Exterios, who's all the way on high ground. With Mappy and Red Rush, somehow they found a way to get all the way up top. The consistent trio coming in throughout the day have kind of, you know, had a leg backwards. They're in 4th place right now. They have the best chance to catch up completely, but they have to fight Queasy, they have to fight Vidal. 3 different teams looking to have high and take this game.
My oh my, we're used to seeing the low ground. As you're seeing Trulux, yes, the defense, they saw in the VOD how they got flanked on. They're trying to discourage that high ground retake. Because we all know it's basically so much free. That's be an economy type of way to take that high ground from them because they don't have to use all that. That's what Chapix is keeping an eye on for. But look, actually Flick is pushing on Noah Riley. They're trying to take this height away from them, and Noah Riley's doing all that he can to stop it.
Every team from 3rd to 10th is trying to find a way to get back into this tournament, get back to the 1st place slot. Right now for Anas, it'll be going straight to Noah Riley's box. A big pump comes in to trade. Thomas HD is keeping this team's dreams alive, but he's the only one left up with 19 HP. Landed a big pump, didn't get a full finish on the Elam either. This height take did not work out, and their chances for 1st place are definitely on the line.
Thomas HD could definitely clutch that situation. He's done it in previous seasons. He's going to have one of the biggest clutches, but look, Height's in trouble. Trulix Jerky goes down, and Queasy has been put down to low ground. He is in shambles. Queasy doesn't want to be down here. The air is not just too dense for them. His lungs are used to clean air. Queasy now, he has to do all that he can to hold on. This is the 1st place team going down, and placement points are well out getting doled.
This might be the most important clutch of Queasy's career in general. The longer he stays alive, the more of a gap he makes between him and Savage, who went down so much earlier. It's all about placement points for that team right now, but for Exterios, Mappy, and Red Rush, it's all about the catch-up. If Queasy goes down as well, it basically becomes a foot race for every top 10 team to close that gap, but it's all down to him. 15 different teams alive right now. That placement will come in every single time one goes down. Queasy moving forward, only soft mats, 400 builds. He's looking to harpoon any type of invitation for more beams to come from any direction that he's looking at. A big shot right in front. He dodges it, goes towards low ground. He's still moving in. He is getting more placement. Thomas HD is down. He has a little bit, but he's taken out now. For every other team, up right now. It's a chance for contention, a chance to catch up to the first and second place team. This is that gap game, and every team's looked to fill it.
Reason, Noah Riley, and Badil are second from height. You're taking a look at Kinzel, 16th place going into this match here. They have some chance to move up their leaderboard, but Tayson, ForZR, Nate, who have been passive at in-game, are now looking at height to see if they could take it. If Tayson, ForZR, Nate could take height, they could move from third place and close the gap that the first and second place team are. You talked about it, Shio, 50 points, but Badil gets a knock on Joe. So Badil and Noah Riley are making their move right now as Tayson's going to the front side of the storm here just to make sure that they get as much placement as possible. We're getting closer and closer to the top 10 situation. Kinzel, Wake, and iDrop have the advantage here, but now we're taking a look at who has the advantage on the low ground. It's Andalex. We talk about the veteran trio. You do not want to see controlling the low ground, but now we focus here back to third place. Shio, can Tayson right here, the ultimate solo star, find the impact frags? I think he got that one, maybe, we'll see. But Tayson, yes, he does, and that was on the deal.
Wraps up the deal, one of the other top teams in fifth place rolling in. Tayson is trying to big that gap all the way from third to fifth place and catch up to first. He's looking possibly for a height retake 2. Surveying the area. Meanwhile, Marine down in the feed. Wolfie's going away too. That entire squad is getting taken away. He's done the analysis. I feel like the team might be going for it in just a second. They have a little bit of those materials, but no. Kinzel, Wakey, and iDrop are way too high. We're going straight to the ocean as well. Low ground's going to be a little bit of trouble. They have to build a little bit more on the floors. Tayson is getting close and personal to that low ground as well. Holding all the way left and right. Shaco's going down in the feed. Snazy on low ground also gets taken out by Nate. This squad is active. They're looking for box-to-box fights, and they're winning them all.
They need all these points right here. A 50-point gap going into it, like I said before. And if they get this, Tayson now is in trouble. 5 HP. He's going to have to move on out, but I think Tayson was able to survive that pressure here. Tayson, ForZR now getting pressure from height. Tayson down to a sliver of health here. 6 eliminations from Nate. The former FNCS champion goes down in a flash so quickly. Now it's ForZR here. He's in the back of the storm. ForZR holding on. 19 HP, and he goes down as well. This is going to be a victory royale for Wakey, Kinzel, and iDrop here. And Clement, old names, old guard here on the line. Clement dapping into the water here, holding on as much as possible. But iDrop, Wakey, Kinzel, too much to handle, too hot to hold. 7 eliminations and the victory royale. That's big for them. They were 16th place. They could get up closer. We talked about all it takes. 2 games, 2 pop-off games. You get a lot of movement on that board, child.
That was definitely a catch-up game, though, for the majority of the server, right? A lot of those top teams going down early, even ForZR not being able to go all the way to the end for the victory royale. I'm wondering how that shakeup looks. What does the catch-up look like? We have to toss it over to the desk to see exactly how that game's results throw down.
Boys, we're in the back just screaming our heads off. All right, we're just yelling as all of this is happening. Trios falling left and right. This is absolutely insane. Now, we'll take a look at the standings in just a little bit, but this was game number 5 on the day, 11 of the overall tournament finals here in Europe. Gentlemen, at this point, it's a battle between first and second. Everyone else is playing for third. And we're looking at these like spots. We're talking about a large amount of prize money, okay? And all these trios, they're looking to climb as high as they can to walk away with more of that pie. Reese, Levin, this game is way too tight right now.
Look, you said it's a battle for first and second, but it almost was a battle for first and second. This was a full southwest zone. It looked like Queasy completely had it in them. This is basically the worst possible zone for Savage's team, pulling all the way from Steamy Stacks all the way to max distance map. We saw it not work out for them, but at the same time, it looked like it was going to be Queasy's zone. As soon as that 5th zone pops, they're situated on height. No way to build over. They can't do their signature height play, and it all falls apart on the rotate. So both of our top 2 teams eliminated early in this game, which means that we saw ForZR. We were watching ForZR, Tayson, and Nate through that entire end game. I think that was a third for them there with, I think, 7 eliminations, which is a ton of points, which means it was a battle for top 2. But I think with that game, those guys are going to move all the way up. And now it seems to be a 3-way battle for first coming into the final match.
Yeah. I wanted to come out and say, look, the top 2 teams made their lives a bit harder coming into that last game. But it's really unlucky, right? In the case of Savage's trio, where you have the max distance zone. It's not even a max distance zone, the max distance zone for that team. And even in Queasy and Trilix's case, you know, they don't pull 50-50. That height difference, it just wasn't going to happen, right? They just weren't going to get height there. And so you saw they were posturing for it, right? You know what they want to do, but they just couldn't execute it. And so going into this last game now, it's a 3-horse race. And what a race is it? What a race. Like, this is going to be crazy. Ultimately, one of these 3 teams is going to be in the sort of closing moments of that game. And that's probably going to be the team that takes it. And so what happens now if there's all 3 of those teams in that situation? Like, then things get...
We have a good game.
We're getting all different levels of crazy right now in the final game.
This is absolutely insane. We'll take a look at these standings in just a second. First, we got to talk about our top 3 going into that last game. This battle at the top. We got to highlight the 3 trios that are closest to the Axe of Champions.
We literally just talked about these teams as already. You know, we set this up saying, let's go the top 3 teams coming in. I think they're still the top 3 teams in contention right now. Forziar, Tayson, and Nate had a good first day, but not anything amazing. They were 4th coming out of that first day. Now they're in 3rd, so moved up a single point. Maybe even pushed their way up the leaderboards a little bit more. But Rescar, Savage, and Drea, after the first day, they were in 1st. It was all looking really, really good up until that, what was that, game number 10, where they started to get overtaken then. And then here we go, 11 games deep. They've kind of moved down a little bit. The gap seems to be changing a little bit more. This is one of the best 3-way races coming into the finals that we've seen in a long time. This is so tense.
Yeah, and you know, you look at Queasy.
Come on. Questa prima, fai vedere. Stanno... Ah, sono scesi no! No, guarda dove sono scesi. Madonna mia. Cazzo. GG, ritorniamo.
Secondo la religione cristiana invece si potrebbe però lasciare la storia delle caravelle e invece avremo personaggi che vanno in altra metà, avremo passato in chissà, forse nulla di tutto ciò, diventeremo l'altro che uccide per la casa, polvere alla polvere, cenere alla cenere, scopriremo di sicuro, ma
behind. Can they do it? Can they catch up to first place and triumph in the final game of EU?
There's only 4 words that could capture this moment. Good luck and have fun. This is the final game of the FNCS EU region. Will we have a new FNCS champion? or will Hen, Genesis, and Chapix, I don't know, do the astronomical performance, but all eyes are on our top 3. Wheezy, Revsguard, and Tayson all have a chance to win. And it all went down to the final moments last season. Will we get a repeat finish?
They have been the most consistent all throughout the day. You can see the stat on screen. The thing is, though, it's not about consistency anymore. They're on the catch-up. They're playing defense. The majority of the tournament, we're sitting very, very chill in that first place spot. Now, at second, they need to actually be proactive this game. They can't just stay waiting on low ground. Maybe play for height. Depending on where the zone goes to, that'll be huge. You know what happens in the final games of the day on EU. We end up in the mountains, we end up in the sea. It gets crazy. Meanwhile, though, regardless of all of that, Trulex, Squeezy, Jerky, first place, so good throughout the whole day. Reset it best just to show you how dominant these guys are. Their worst game, Sancho, they get 10 points. You have to count on this team to have a good game no matter what. And every team right now in the lobby is preying on their downfall.
Essentially, their worst has been a lot of Trio's best. They have a 24-point lead right now. If you want to keep tabs on it, you want to do the work with us, you want to do the math. Trulix's Trio's at 155 for the session. That means for the day. You're looking at Indretta's Trio still locked in at 118. Third place right now is 118 as well. So you're looking about 24 points difference between first and second. Third place right now is at an 11-point difference between third and second. Good luck doing math.
And in this final game, we pulled up an extra chair at the table. There are 3 teams neck and neck, close by, looking for that top tier first place spot. The champions of Europe, the before ZR, Tayson, and Nate rolling in 273 points throughout both days. They're also very, very close, but have to do so much and hope that Queasy, Jerky, and Trulex trip over themselves trying to clinch this last game.
Let's take a look at the Zone 1 that's been revealed. If you're sitting out there and you're a Queasy fan, they're on the bottom left of your screen. And they have to go through all those South rotator players that are all out there that have been just clawing, they've been bruising a lot of people. So that's going to be something to keep an eye on as they make that treacherous rotation. And Shayo, Savage, Revsguard, and Dretta, this is really close. This is a very winnable situation considering Zone 1 pulled their way. Last zone went all the way across the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's close to them, but neither team really pull the zone into their domain. Everyone's gonna have to move a little bit, especially for ZR all the way at Sweaty Stands. Even Steamy Stacks, you see that white line? They have to eventually end up leaving this POI. They're on a timer, and they have to make sure their game is efficient.
We cannot forget fourth place. The deal, Noah, Riley, and Reason making a return back into the top 3. That's the only new team that are within the striking distance, within being that auto qualification as well. And that is what a phenomenal performance from them, no matter what. It let them know that they could change their playstyle. If for some reason the placement points or elimination points changes, they know that they could be aggressive, they could be that buzzsaw. But this is what's been so impressive throughout the day is Trulex, Squeezy, and Jerky. We've been playing high aggressively. And who knows, imagine in day 1 they were able to get those victory royales when they had height. How much of a runaway performance this would be for Season 6.
I have it down in my notes. This team was literally supposed to win on day 1. The positions they were in, you're absolutely correct. Like, they literally were dominant and no team could, in theory, really catch them. In reality, though, they definitely did get caught. Going back, watching the VODs, making sure everything, all the mistakes were fine. They came into day 2, the fresh mindset, and now they have a huge lead on many teams. All they have to do this game is survive.
We already talked about a lot of numbers, but let me throw you the big numbers that's happening here. But let me put a pause on that as our defending FNCS champions are in trouble. Lanuf's Trio here has put so much pressure on them. Now that Janice is in a defensive stance here, Lanuf does get hit. It is cracked right now, and that might be just enough to kind of slow down this push that's happening from Slicks, Marine, and Lunef.
Gonna be trying to go all the way in. At the same time, every team right now, they might not be holding anything back. In the last game, they might need a lot of eliminations to go a little bit higher. And the prize thresholds there are the entire tournament we're watching so far, for the whole finals, for Genesis and Chapix. It might not be possible for them to level up the whole way and get top 3. They're about, I would say, 40 points behind. So they definitely would need to win. High Chris is here, still chasing them. They disengaged over and over again yesterday. And both teams have played their games out. If this is the first time you're tuning in for the day watching, Hen's team, we're watching on screen right now under the bridge, has been contesting High Chris's team for all 12 games. They're trying to run away too just to play this one out. High Chris does not care. They're coming through, chasing all the way. They're trying to have this fight towards the very end.
This is so heartbreaking to watch. Hen, Chapik, and Janice. Chapik tweeted out that he's never been contested since squads. We're just seeing them right now. Defending champions. Not a lot of room to breathe. They essentially need a double-digit elim and a victory royale. And a lot of other teams ahead of them to go down. But I'm not seeing it. As much as I would love to root for a repeat, the repeat is looking like it's in shambles.
Tire turn hanging by a thread, no shield to kind of protect them either. They have to do this absolutely raw. Vortex jumping all the way in, gets taken out, Chapik's 1 HP. Both these teams, both these players have such a history throughout these entire finals. And although Janice, Chapik, and Hen have been winning off spawn entirely, it might just be High Chris who gets the last laugh. Janice on his wall, champions fall. Their run so far for the top 3 is over. Phenomenal though. Contested for 12 games. They had a very good showing and will end somewhere within the top 10 or 15 at the end of the finals.
It's just something that when it comes down to this moment, this is what it is all about. FNCS, we still have 3 teams that are just separated by a victory royale. Payson, 4ZR, and Nate. As a team, they're in third place. Only 11 points behind. Again, 118. Keep an eye on that number. It needs to be added by 11 more points, and they're tied for second place. Of course, it's all going to come down to tiebreakers because of that sort, but this is why I'm casting it. I'm not an admin. Right now, we're all eyes right here. Focus. Everyone gather around. We're getting into the final moments of Game 12 here. And you may think, Sancho, this game just started. This feels like the finale of it, you know what I mean? This is it.
It is. The last game, Jerky Queasy, Trulex, first place. And with the champions from last season gone, it's like we're at the coronation for this team so far. If it was a movie, right, there could be a possibility of hijinks happening at the ceremony. People are still in contention. The top 2 teams to interrupt. But once again, for these guys to lose their first place slot, they would have to go down before kind of the 8th or 9th zone. I don't see that happening, especially in this spot. There's no teams near them. No bow shots really hitting this big guardian outpost. There's no chance that these guys flip up right now. As the game goes on, it will get scarier. Here's the team that wants to make it happen. Savage and Dreda, Revsguard, once again, second place. They need to catch up. They need to win this game.
I was mentioning big numbers before. Let me hit you with those numbers right now. First place, $300,000. Second place, $210,000. Third place, $135,000. That's what's at stake here between the 3. Not only that access to champions, not only be able to put that social media post, not only to be able to make that video that's going to get thousands and thousands of views, and your clout's going to go up because everyone's going to call you a champion. It's all about that life-changing money as well. And then you go down 4th, 5th, 6th, still thousands and thousands of dollars. That top 10 is a threshold that you want to break, because if you break that top 10 trial, that's going to be $10,000 a piece.
You want to make sure you catch up. The other thing on the line as well, for every team behind the one on screen right now, Payson, 4ZR, and Nate, basically everyone from 4th place below. You hit top 3 this FNCS, you're automatically invited to the next one to be inside the finals as well. So Payson, 4ZR, and Nate have their own gate to keep while they try to get further and further up inside the top 3. They have to make sure they don't go down and they get an auto qual all the way. You saw how rough it was for their season. All the qualities, issues, errors, and heats as well. They kind of fixed it up, but they had trouble getting all the way here. They look amazing today. Amazing right now, but they don't want to repeat the process.
Still, other teams that are in this match have a lot to play for themselves. We cannot forget about that all-star game that will happen later on. The top 15 will be able to get into that match.
Look, big qualifications on all sides. Queasy, Jerky, Trulex. a little bit of trouble right now. These are the spots you can't make mistakes at. And these are also the places where every other team who was playing normally might be slightly hungrier, understanding that, hey, we might need to get the top 10. I want to get to the upper portions of prizing. I might have to push the team in front of me that I usually wouldn't. Sun and Jules, a passive team, might make that choice, but no, this defensive base, Queasy, Jerky, and Chulex will be fine. They're used to being free though. They like walking around. That's not going to be the case right now. And on Surge as well, they're just 18 damage above.
Yeah, yes, exactly what I was going to point out. Look at it. Both people that are in the top 3, just above Surge, and 10 players have to go down here very soon in the next zone. So every shot's mattering. They're going to have to get this important task. Ref's Garden, bottom right of the screen, armed with an infantry rifle. Doesn't get any connections, but look at the zone, Shio. Zone 2, it's going to be another mountain finish.
Can't get nervous here on the Surge. I know it's just 18. It's half a tag. It looks drastic, but patience is key. Everyone else should be a lot more nervous and more desperate to push for shots. Queasy always hits these, but no, doesn't get a single bullet on the head. People all the way up top, Stompy, Shadow, and Joe, and Lazy Lakes. 19 above now. He's looking fine. Everyone should be edging more towards looking for box fights, looking to really just push their game to the absolute limit. Chulex, Squeezy, Jerky, different circumstances. They're feeling fine. Pizza Ardent, kind of desperate. Reason is right here with Vidil and Noah Riley. They're looking right beside Taysom, actually overtake them and get into the top 3. They're in 4th place currently. Taysom has to defend this right now inside the same POI. They're 192 damage below. They need to go for a fight. They're pushing for it. Ardent inside this building, but no, Taysom is moving with no protection all the way up the side of this ramp, and he gets beamed down, has to heal all the way up, and 21 damage above. The outreach was worth it, but they're still not off scot-free.
The monster that's underneath the bed of Tayson's dreams of a 3-time FNCS championship is now haunting them and giving them some nightmares because look, they're only 9 above, and throughout the entire tournament we've seen Storm Surge being the bullseye, the target, and so many trios right now are looking for those easy eliminations to get them those thousands of dollars as they creep up more and more on the leaderboard. A lot to play for everybody else on the field.
They can't throw up Surge now. The entire run they've had this season, it's been Surge issues every single time. There's no way in this game, the finale, will they just trip up for now? Yeah, they go all the way up, build the bases, 86 damage above, it's looking good, and now with 69 players alive, Surge will stop still. They're not kings of their spot right now. Joe, Stompy, and Shadow can have better peaks right below them. Fastroki and Ardent will cause trouble. Meanwhile, Chulex, Jerky, trapped beside a river in a shed, they finally broke free and are moving on their way to an empty zone where no one's really claimed that much ground. This could be huge. Get them into a spot to survive, and now they have a team interrupt them. Wow, Jerky, big bow shot to get Surge. Remember, they were barely up on it. Another one. This is so huge for Jerky. They don't have to make as many edits now. They're going to be relaxing for the moment too. The issue is they've bullied 2 teams on mountains and caught their attention. One of them being a team that might be looking at them stop their run. Savage and Dread Ref's Guard.
This is like one of those things right there is you're seeing that they're used to being really chill on Surge. They can make those kind of aggressive plays for height, but when you have that Surge parasite weighing you down, that anchor, you're not going to be as free to crank up to height. Those 90s just become a little bit heavier. In fact, Shio, everything is heavier right now. Every edit, I bet you their mouse or controller, whatever input they're playing on, just feels a little bit more heavier. It's like a 5-pound weight sitting on it.
Definitely a lot of pressure. 840R Taysom, though, no strangers to it. We know how decorated Taysom is. We know the prowess of Nate and 40R too. Popping off, whether it's duos for Nate, whether it's the trio prowess of 40R as well. Taysom's so good in every mode too. These guys can definitely do it, but once again, they're the team that the majority of players in this lobby are looking to take out. I know first and second are having their own battle, but for third, they are on the line. Fastroki Vista Ardent above them, want to break in. Andalex in 8th place, wants to roll through. Kiriachi right below them in 5th. They're trying to get through too. They had a chance to meet up with Vidil, Noah Riley, and Reason. They're right below them in 4th place. Meanwhile, in 2nd, Savage, Ref's Guard, and Dreda looking at the server, trying to pinpoint where that 1st place team is, or just trying to get tags.
They're looking good though. Center zone and everybody that's in the top 3, everybody in the lobby that's still alive has been doled out 5 points. So that's why they went from 118 to 123. So far, no movement yet in the top 3. No one's gaining ground. No one's lost ground right now between Andretta's trio, 4ZR, and Queasy. All looking good. The only thing that I'm really concerned is this right here. What does the Storm Surge look at? We saw 2 big bow shots, putting them at 85, putting 160 into that HP bankroll. But is that going to be enough for them to last? Are they going to have enough financial Storm Surge to be able to withstand all this pressure that's happening right here, right now?
Talk about pressure. This is a very similar position we saw, I believe, Anas, Thomas HD, and Flick at last game. A team focuses you while you can't really move between the 3rd, 4th, and 5th zones. You start running out of your materials completely. Fast Roki's not letting this one go. They're dropping down all their ammo into this position. They ran out of shields above them. They ran out of gas. They ran out of mats completely. And it looks like they're looking to all in Nate, 4ZR, and Tayson below before this storm starts to move.
We're seeing that a knock went through for reason. Now they're at 169 for this session here. They closed the gap just a little bit. They're still 17 points behind 3rd place.
Anas, Thomas HD are also used to winning at least one game, I feel like, inside these finals, having a big pop off, and they haven't done it yet. They could steal away the VR. They're still alive and looking really healthy. Meanwhile, Savage, wide open edit. Good job closing it after all that pressure. I was expecting a bow shot to come in. That would not be good for just the inventory management and loadout. Joe Stompy are still all the way up on their high ground position from Lazy Lake. They're looking to dominate this game. They did one yesterday, but once again, they're looking for repeat performances, trying to get up in the prizing thresholds. Oh no, 4ZR down. That's what I was talking about. Fast Roki did not want them to get away for free. Nate now stuck behind the wall. It's not his. He can't edit it. Pizza looking for the big shots, but he goes down. The Storm and a lot of shots inside the circle as well. Nate, as a result, getting the Elam or not, will fall privy to them too. Tayson will have to leave him behind. And look who they're going to be running into. Reason, Vadil, Noah Riley. He's caught their attention. The 4th place team right below them might be the ones to take him out, but he might be actually affecting them in moving by. I think, yes.
Oh my!
He picked up Vadil, got the Elam too. 4th place now in shambles. 3rd place just has one teammate left over. Tayson is not going to go out without a big bang. He's looking for the big shots. Reason is going to be taken down on shields. Zone, 17 seconds. Still moving in. They're really desperate. They pushed up on these builds to move forward. But they're still not in zone. This is trouble.
Tayson, the 2-time FNCS champion, a trio champion, and a solo champion, is going to make his way to hold on as much as possible. A lot of ground to move on through to make sure they could get closer to the top here. But we're seeing there still are 2 places here of Refsguard's trio and Queasy's trio are still in, and we saw Savage was able to get a couple eliminations. Reason and O'Reilly, who are sitting in 4th place, who've been moving up the board slowly but surely here, now have to continue the rest of it. And Tayson is out, locked in 3rd place. But we already know there's going to be a lot of movement because there's a lot more game here in the final 12th game, Shio.
Savage still acting like a frilled neck lizard right now, really puffing out his chest and looking for big positions all the way inside the circle. Every team right now is doing their best to be intimidating and make sure no other team steps to them or gets in their box. Meanwhile, Queasy, Trulex, Jerky, the 1st place trio is not on that wavelength. They're more so operating like a jack in the box. Low ground, being very low key. They don't want to make any over edits. They're hiding from the rest of the lobby. Meanwhile, when that game actually goes through, we get towards the end game, you'll see them pop out. A big scary trio who loves to go for height. They'll still be on their game. There they are, side by side, 1st and 2nd place with a very different play style. And with a full metal base, basically, a submarine base, it looks like all the way on low ground. No one's going to be penetrating it whatsoever. No shots will really come through. They'll be fine all the way till end game.
Let me just make things simpler right now. I know all of us are trying to do math, but Queasy, if they could just outplay Andretta, then they're going to be able to have a great chance of winning it all. It's basically a victory royale for Andretta. That is the win condition for the FNCS championship.
This is a 2 trios race. You're absolutely right. Whoever survives longer wins this FNCS, as long as they get to one of those end game circles. So we're on our marks. We're getting set and ready. In 3 seconds, we'll have the zone and we'll be ready to go. Toos, Kiriachi, Stormy right, Noah Riley up top. You know, but Noah Riley, Reason and Vadil are on height. They're so good at just punishing every low ground team. This could be trouble for Savage and Queasy as well. None of them looking to take height really. They're looking to survive. same place, same boxes, and they both don't really pull zone completely. It's a pseudo max rotate, and they might be right beside each other.
Savage, the in-game leader for this situations right here. His prowess, his clutch factor is all on the line. He has to lead Refsguard and Dreda. Savage joining this duo to form this newly
manca se sono le 22. Dove cazzo manca, scusate. Lo vedere. Vabbè ragazzi, allora era l'ultima partita. Niente, va bene. Spero che questa live vi sia piaciuta. Forse ci vediamo domani, credo, con un'altra live. Quindi ciao a tutti, buona serata e buonanotte a tutti. Ciao.